From the Astrodome in Houston, the Astros game of the day is on the air. This afternoon's game between the Astros and the Atlanta Braves is brought to you by the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee and other cities. Schlitz, the most carefully brewed beer in the world. And by the coffee that's blended in the Southwest to satisfy discerning tastes. Maryland Club, the coffee you drink if you owned all the coffee in the world. Hi again, everyone. I'm Gene Elston with Lowell Pass, Harry Callis, and Bob Green. We'll have a right-hander going for the Atlanta Braves today. Knuckleballing right-hander Phil Niekro, who has just recently been converted into a starting pitcher by Paul Richards and manager Billy Hitchcock. And right-hander Don Wilson will be on the mound for the Houston Astros today. And we'll have those lineups for you in just a moment. You know, the name Schlitz on a frosty bottle of beer is one of the most welcome sights in our land today because it identifies the great light beer with gusto, Schlitz. The beer that gives you real beer flavor, real beer character, and a beer so light you can enjoy glass after glass. Now, a beer this good just doesn't happen. In fact, it takes 1,174 slow, careful brewing steps to create the taste of Schlitz, right up through to the last gentle kiss of the hops. And all this makes Schlitz the most carefully brewed beer in the world. So before you pop open another beer, check the label. Make sure it says Schlitz. Then pour yourself a golden glassful. Drink through that snowy head down to the biggest beer taste around. And you'll see why so many people across our land are saying, when you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. Schlitz from the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee, and other cities. Starting and playing in left field today for the Atlanta Braves will be Felipe Alou. Tito Francona will be at first base. Hank Aaron in right field. Mac Jones in center field. Clete Boyer at third base. Dennis Menke at shortstop. Bob Uecker will do the catching. Bill Woodward at second base. And Phil Niekro will be on the mound for Atlanta. Alou in left, Francona first base, Aaron in right, Jones in center, Boyer third base, Menke short, Uecker catching, Woodward second base, and Niekro will be on the mound. For Houston, leading off at second base, Julio Gotay. Sonny Jackson at shortstop. Jim Wynn in center field. Rusty Staub in right field. Eddie Matthews, first base. Jim Landis in left field. Bob Aspromonte, third base. Dave Adlish will do the catching. And Don Wilson, a right-hander, will be on the mound for the Astros. Gotay second base, Jackson short, Wynn center field, Staub in right, Matthews at first base, Landis in left, Aspromonte at third, Adlish catching, and Wilson will be doing the pitching. Umpire behind the plate this afternoon is Bill Williams. Frank Sikori will be at first. Ken Burkhart at second base. And Ed Bargo will be umpiring on third. This broadcast is authorized under broadcast rights granted by the Houston National League Baseball Club. It is meant solely for the entertainment of our listening audience, and any publication, rebroadcast, or any other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Houston Baseball Club is prohibited. I'd like to correct an error that I mentioned just a moment ago here. I had stated that the Cincinnati Reds were out in front of the second-place St. Louis Cardinals by 2 games, but make that a game and a half. The standings that we have here are not up to date because of the late game between the Dodgers and Cincinnati last night, and if you did not hear that final score last night, the Dodgers won over the Reds by a count of 6-1. The Cardinals also lost their game yesterday to the San Francisco Giants, so the Reds retain a game and a half lead over the second-place St. Louis Cardinals. And those same Redbirds will be in here starting tomorrow night, and the first game will be quite a pitching attraction. Left-hander Mike Cuellar will be up against right-hander Bob Gibson. one of the hardest throwers in the National League. Then the Cardinals will also play on Tuesday night, and then on Wednesday night, the last game of the homestand, ladies' night, a one-game stand against the league-leading Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati's in Los Angeles today, but they'll not be getting underway for a while. The probables in that game, Sammy Ellis for Cincinnati, and Claude Osteen will be on the mound for the Dodgers. St. Louis will be at San Francisco. Dick Hughes is scheduled to go for the Cardinals, and Gaylord Perry will be on the mound for San Francisco. Just got a lineup correction also on the Atlanta Braves here. Clete Boyer will not be in the lineup today, and his place will be taken by Mike Delahose. And I assume that he will be in the same batting spot, and if he is not, we'll correct that for you also. Now a quick rundown on the scores now to bring you up to date. Pittsburgh is out in front of Philadelphia. The Pirates batting in the top of the fourth. Pittsburgh 5 and Philadelphia nothing. And the first game of the doubleheader at Shea Stadium in the top of the eighth, the Cubs 3 and the New York Mets 2. And over in the American League, Detroit is behind Kansas City in the fifth inning. It's Kansas City 4, Detroit 1. New York, Chicago, first game at Comiskey Park, no score in the third. Boston and Washington, no score in their ball game in the seventh. California and Baltimore 2-2 in the third. And Minnesota, Cleveland, no score in the third inning. Now here is our national anthem. Just about all set to play ball now. Mike Delahose will be at third base for the Braves and will bat in the spot as we gave you on Clete Boyer, so he'll be batting fifth behind Mac Jones. The Atlanta Braves, as we start this final game of the series, are just a game out of the first division behind the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Braves are trailing the league-leading Cincinnati Reds by 7 games, a game behind Pittsburgh, holding down the number 5 spot. Houston has slipped to the number 9 spot in the standings now as the result of their split with a doubleheader here yesterday with Atlanta, while the Los Angeles Dodgers beat Cincinnati. So Houston comes into this game this afternoon in 9th place, 14 and a half games behind the Reds, a half a game behind the Dodgers. Right-hander Don Wilson on the mound. Don will be making his 12th start of the year here this afternoon and will be making his first start of the season against the Atlanta Braves. Don has appeared once, however, against this ball club in relief, and he lost that game. Actually, he pitched only a third of an inning against the Braves that time out, gave up 1 run and 2 walks in his relief appearance, and was charged with a defeat. That's the only lifetime game that Wilson has pitched against this Brave outfit. Well, we're all set to go, and here's Philippe Alou, the leadoff batter. He'll be followed by Tito Francona and then Henry Aaron. Don has won 3 and lost 3 so far this year. And of his first 11 starts, he has gone the distance twice. Alou is batting .286. He has 7 home runs and 17 runs batted in. And the first pitch is a strike. Put it right in, and Alou just took it. Bill Adair's coaching at first base, and Bob Kennedy coaching down on third. Wilson right back with the second pitch to Alou. Ground ball, big chop to second to Julio Gotay. Throw to first. Matthews got it. 1 down. So Alou opens the ball game, going out second to first. That will bring up Tito Francona. Here's Francona, left-handed batter. Tito's hitting .271 with 1 homer and 6 RBIs. Defensively for Houston today, Jim Landis left, Jim Wynn center, and Rusty Staub in right. Bob Aspromonte third, Sonny Jackson short, Gotye second, Matthews first. Dave Adlish is doing the catching. First pitch to Francona, high fastball. Wilson has done a real fine job. Make that 263 on Francona's batting average. Here's the next pitch now. There's a swing at a good fastball up around the letters. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out, nobody on base. Just started here in the top half of the first inning. Wilson, 6'3", 205 pounds. He's a big one. Here's the pitch now. Swing at the fastball again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wilson's earned run average is 3.50. And Don has picked up quite a few strikeouts this year. In 72 innings, he has struck out 62, just a little bit under a strikeout per inning. There's a ball low. The last time out, he struck out 13 batters in his game that he won over the San Francisco Giants on Wednesday, 7-4. Ball 2 and strike 2 on Francona with Hank Aaron up next. 1 out. Here's the 2-2 pitch by Wilson. Francona waves and he misses, and he just got a piece of that one, and Adlish couldn't hold it. Almost a foul tip. So Francona's still in there. Wilson out of Louisiana on this Louisiana weekend here at the Astrodome. Don was born in Monroe, but he makes his home now in California. 22 years old. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Francona. There's a little pop down the left side, and Jackson will have to hurry. And on the run, he made the catch. Actually, Sonny made the play on that one rather easily. Caught it right over the top of his head as he moved down toward the Atlanta bullpen down the left side as Francona pops out to the shortstop, Sonny Jackson. 2 away. Here's Hank Aaron. Aaron is batting .329, and Hank is still 4th in the National League in batting. Roberto Clemente leads the league with .372. Orlando Cepeda of St. Louis is second with .343. Rusty Staub is third with .342, just a point behind Cepeda. And then Aaron comes on number 4 with .329. 17 homers. He leads the league in that department. Here's the first pitch to Aaron. A right-handed batter takes a strike. And Aaron is third in a third-place tie with Tony Perez of the Cincinnati Reds in runs batted in. Of course, the league is led now by Jim Wynn with 47, and he's 2 ahead of Roberto Clemente. 2 outs, nobody on, 1 strike. Wilson starts his windup, but Aaron had stepped out, so the plate umpire Bill Williams calls time. Aaron had his hitting string snapped last night. He was 0 for 3 in the nightcap. He had hit safely in 13 consecutive games before Dave Justy snapped it last night. Here's the next pitch to Aaron. Ball low outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs. Olu is grounded out. Francona's popped out. Wilson checks over his sign with Dave Adlish. And he's all set again. Now here's the 1-1 pitch. Aaron takes it very high, and that's tipped off the end of Adlish Schmidt, and it goes back to the stands. Ball 2, strike 1. Wilson with his even-up record of 3 wins and 3 losses. Don has won 1 and lost 1 to Cincinnati. Has won 1 and lost 1 to San Francisco. Has lost to Atlanta and 1 from Pittsburgh. Here's the 2-1 pitch by Don Wilson. Fouled again, right straight back into the net. Ball 2, strike 2. Wilson, of course, made his major league debut with Houston last year at the tail end of the season. So he has yet to be around the big leagues a full season yet. He's done a fine job for the Astros. Outfield deep and around the left side for Aaron. Here's the 2-2 pitch now to Hank. Got him. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. And that was the fastball by Wilson up around the letters. It's number 1 for Don, his 63rd of the year. 3 up and 3 down for the Braves. Top of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. Nothing for Atlanta. And the Astros are coming to bat.
There's just 1 Schlitz. Yeah, yeah. Nothing else comes near. When you're out of Schlitz.
Not me.
You're out of beer. Just 1 beer fix. Yeah, yeah. This great one here. When you're out of Schlitz.
Oh, no.
You're out of beer. If If you like it light with a big taste too, there's only one brew that will do when you're out of Schlitz. You're out of beer. If you like it light with a big taste too, there's only one brew that will do when you're out of Schlitz.
Never.
You're out of beer, real gusto in the great light beer Schlitz.
Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee and other cities.
Last half of the first inning here at the Astrodome. No score for Atlanta in the top half. And right-hander Phil Niekro is on the mound for the Braves today, making only his second start of the year. And that was a pretty fair start he made also. Went all the way and pitched a two-hitter. As most of you know, Niekro is a knuckleballer, and he has been used almost exclusively in the bullpen for quite some time. Very effective relief pitcher. And they now have turned him into a starter. And he comes on here this afternoon with a 2-win, 2-loss record. He'll be facing Julio Gotay, Sonny Jackson, and Jim Wynn here in the bottom of the first. Niekro, with one start and one complete game, 2 wins, 2 losses, has an earned run average of 1.41. Here's Gotay hitting .306. Julio has 3 runs batted in. He's picked up 1 double, 1 triple so far this year. Niekro, a right-hander, 28 years old. Here's the windup and the first pitch on the way to Gotay, and there's a strike up around the letter, strike 1. Sonny Jackson will follow, and he'll be followed by Jim Wynn. Niekro all set again. Now here's the windup and the pitch to Gotay. A little pop off the right side back near the net, but it'll be up into the net. Catcher Bob Uecker watches it sail back that way, and a strike 2. Nellie Fox coaching at first, and Jim Busby on third. Atlanta is using Mike Delahose at third. Clete Boyer, originally slated to start, has a pulled leg muscle. He'll be out today. Dennis Menke at shortstop. Bill Woodward at second base, and Tito Francona on first. Philippe Alou left, Mac Jones center, and Henry Aaron in right. 2 strikes on Gotay. The pitch by the right-hander. Ball pops away from Uecker. That's the first one that gets away from Uecker, and that'll happen quite a bit today. We'll brief you a little bit. I'm sure that most of you fans are up on the fact that Uecker was acquired from the Philadelphia Phillies for catcher Gene Oliver because they wanted someone who could catch Niekro's knuckleball, and he throws a high percentage of knucklers, and that's the reason they acquired Uecker to catch him. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way to Gotay. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Gotay goes down on strikes to open the bottom of the first. Niekro is almost an exclusive knuckleball pitcher. As he has said that if it's working for him, he'll throw it all the time. So every pitch is a knuckleball, and he throws it right down the middle, he says. Here's Sonny Jackson batting .220, 13 runs batted in. That strikeout for Niekro is his 31st strikeout in 51 innings. Niekro has not given up too many hits this year, just 37 in his 51 innings on the mound. Jackson starts to go on that pitch and is low. And it's 1 ball, no strikes. 1 out, nobody on. Niekro has no record against Houston this year. Here's the windup by the right-hander and the next pitch now, and Jackson starts to go, but he takes a strike up around the letters. That looked as though it might have been a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Niekro has 2 decisions against Houston lifetime, and he has lost both of those. He has never defeated the Astros. No wins, 2 losses. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way to Sonny, base hit, left field. So Sonny flinks a good line shot to the left. I might add, and we were talking about Jackson's batting average of .220. Sonny has been hitting a lot better than that. Hitting a lot of hard shots that have been caught. Of course, you hear that a lot in baseball. I'm hitting the ball real good, but right at somebody. There's a good line drive to left, the first hit of the ball game. So Jackson's on first. Here's Jim Wynn. Jimmy batting .296, right-handed batter. Sonny takes his lead, and he is out. They got him on the first pitch to first. Oh, Sonny was caught napping on that one, and Niekro shot a good one over to Francona, and they picked him off. There's a little bit of a surprise right there. And Jackson, after his base hit to left field, has been caught napping on first. And Niekro to Francona, 2 away. No count on Jim Wynn yet. There's the windup by the right-hander and the pitch. And Wynn hits a long drive to left field. This will be off of the wall if it's fair. Wynn on his way to second base, and he'll hold up there with a double. Jim Wynn has just doubled. Just about 3/4 of the way up underneath the mezzanine in left field. A 2-base hit. You know, that one started out like it might go, but it didn't make it. And actually, Jim missed a home run by probably 10 feet underneath the yellow line on that one, but a well-hit ball. 2 outs, Wynn on second base as Jim picks up his 11th double of the year. Niekro now has given up back-to-back hits to Sonny Jackson and Jim Wynn, but Sonny was picked off first. Here's Rusty Staub. Wynn now has hit safely in 6 games in a row. He had 8 for 21 in his last 5 coming into today, hitting .381 during that period, and most of them have been home runs. There's a strike to Staub around the knees. Rusty, as we mentioned earlier, is still third in the National League in batting behind Clemente and Cepeda, and Rusty starts the day just a point behind the St. Louis first baseman. Wynn on second, 2 outs. No score, bottom of the first. Rusty is hitting .342, 4 homers, 29 runs batted in. Have the shift on for Rusty. Here's the pitch by Niekro. Staub hits a ground ball to the right side. Woodward over. There's the throw to first, and they got him to retire the side. Staub bounces out. So that ends it for Houston here in the bottom half of the first inning. No runs, 2 hits. No errors, 1 man was left on base. And at the end of 1, it's Houston nothing and Atlanta nothing. Say, I've got an idea on how you could enjoy the game even more with a nice cold can of Schlitz malt liquor. Now, if you've got some Schlitz malt liquor out of the refrigerator, why not go on out right now and pour yourself a glass? You'll be back by the end of the commercial. Now, if you're still listening, if you don't happen to have any Schlitz malt liquor in the house, don't be caught short again. Stock up on Schlitz malt liquor. Pick up 2 or 3 6-packs tonight for sure, and in case you've never even tried Schlitz malt liquor, well, I've got news for you. It's just got to be one of the great drinks out today. Bold, it's bold all right. The bull there on the label tells you that. Now, if you're just coming back into the room with a cold glass of Schlitz malt liquor in your hand, just sit back and enjoy the game. Sit back and think a second about this. Nobody makes malt liquor like Schlitz. Nobody. The Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee, and other cities. 0-0 as we start the second. Don Wilson against Phil Niekro. Mac Jones will lead off for the Braves here in the second. Mike Delahose will follow, and then Dennis Menke. Just announced on the scoreboard a special Astrodome welcome to 40 Brooke Army medical patients wounded in Vietnam. The guests of the management today. Here's Mac Jones. Left-handed batter. Mac is batting .234. He has 6 home runs and 19 runs batted in. Outfield shaded off the right side with the exception to Landis. He's off the left. Jones takes it high, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. St. Louis here tomorrow, 8 o'clock start time. Wilson after his 4th win of the year here this afternoon. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way to Jones, and he takes a good strike right up around the letters. 1 ball and 1 strike. That was a fastball, I believe, but not as hard as Wilson can throw. He got some real hard ones back in the first inning. Fast worker. Here's the next pitch right back into Jones. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Atlanta is still leading the series with Houston this year. After 7 ball games, the Braves have won 4. But here at home, the Astros in the first 5 lead by winning 3 of the games over the Braves. 1-2 count on left-handed hitting Mac Jones. Very low outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. League-leading Cincinnati Reds will be at Los Angeles, and second-place St. Louis will be at San Francisco a little bit later this afternoon. Here's the 2-2 windup by Wilson. Jones fouls that one right straight back. That first game at Shea Stadium in New York is in the 8th inning now. Cubs 3 and the Mets 2. Ball 2 and strike 2 on Mac Jones, lead batter, top of the 2nd inning. Wilson throws it. Call strike 3. Got it. Jones, in a little bit of disbelief, turns around to Williams and then walks away from the plate. Has another fastball, it appeared to be, by Wilson that caught the outside corner up around the letters. That's the 2nd strikeout for Wilson. Here's Mike De La Hoz, a right-handed batter. Now, this fellow was almost a culprit last night. The Astros pulled it out, though, in the 9th after De La Hoz hit a pinch home run to tie it up. There's a long drive right up the middle. But Jimmy Wynn is back for it. He's got it right against the wall. Boy, what a kind of vitamins that De La Hoz has been taking. Stealing a little bit of that stuff from Jim Wynn. Both of them quite small. 2 outs now. Here's Dennis Menke. De La Hoz has 2 home runs this year. Both are pinch home runs. And he came on today hitting .257, 9 runs batted. And here's Menke, a right-handed batter, batting .245. 4 homers, and he's batted in 24. Strike on the outside corner at the knees. 2 outs, nobody on. Wilson against Negro today. They'll be playing this Atlanta ball club again next week in Atlanta. 3-game series. Here's the pitch now. Ball low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Houston on this current homestand, which will be wrapped up with 2 against St. Louis and 1 against Cincinnati, now stands 4 wins, 3 losses against Atlanta and San Francisco. 2 pretty fair ball clubs. Ball pops away from Adlish off the left side, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Jones is struck out. De La Hoz has flied to deep center to Jim Wynn, and Menke has a count of 2 balls, 1 strike. Pittsburgh is leading Philadelphia in the 6th, 5-0. Tommy Sisk all the way for the Pirates in that one. Long drive right down the foul line, but going foul. Well, he hit that one up in the mezzanine, but a foul ball. Now, there's a couple pretty good pokes here off Wilson in this inning. De La Hoz caught by Wynn, and that one foul in the mezzanine, just to the left of the pole. Ball 2, strike 2. Don checks his sign again now. Here's the windup in the next pitch. There's a ball low and outside. You know, in a good fastball hitting ball club, a batter with a lot of power on a ball can get a hold of a fastball, and Wilson throws hard. You would imagine that Don would give up a lot of home runs. Actually, he has not given up a whole lot. He's allowed only 5 this year. Here's the 3-2 pitch on the way to Menke. There's a long drive to deep center field, but Jimmy Wynn has got the radar on that one. And that's all. 3 up and 3 down. Jimmy caught that ball in front of the warning track in left center field. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. Wilson retires the first 6 to face him. We go to the bottom of the 2nd now. Braves nothing, Astros nothing.
Are you ready for another Lavera Lollapalooza? Well, today we turn the spotlight on the great state's great baseball stars. Today's star first played Major League Baseball with the Chicago White Sox in 1957. In 1960, he tied the American League record by reaching first base safely 6 times in a 9-inning game. In 1961, he led the American League in batting average. 65 was named American League Comeback Player of the Year. Well, who's the great state's great star? I'll give you his name after a word about Lavera. Lavera, the great state's great cigar. Silky smooth Lavera, light and mild, full of the rich, satisfying flavor of mellow tobaccos. Why, every puff's pure Texas pleasure. And you can't hardly get Lavera anywhere but Texas. Well, have you got that ball player's name yet? It's Norm Cash. Born in Justisburg, Texas, and graduated from Sul Ross State College in Alpine, Texas. Norm Cash, the great state's great star for today. Lavera, the great state's great cigar every day.
All right, Lowell, and we're moving on to the bottom of the second now, and Eddie Matthews will lead off, and you recall what he did the last time up. Matthews hit his 5th home run of the year here last night in the bottom of the 9th inning, leading off against Bob Bruce. Number 498 for Matthews to wrap up Houston's win last night 4-3. Matthews brings a batting average of .259 to the plate, 20 runs batted in. Outfield deep and around the right side. Right-hander Phil Niekro. Niekro. Here's the pitch on the way to Matthews. Strike on the outside corner at the knee. Strike one. Niekro is 6'1", 180 pounds, 28 years old. He's a native of Indiana, and he still makes his home there. This is the 4th year that he has been up with the Braves. Came up with Milwaukee in 1964. Matthews takes it low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Niekro is even up for the season, as we mentioned, 2-2, and that's his lifetime record. That is a .500 record, 8 wins, 8 losses. 1 ball and 1 strike on lead batter Matthews. Jim Landis and Bob Aspromonte will follow. Eddie pops it up foul off the left side. No play by Euchre. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Niekro has been used exclusively as a relief pitcher up until this year. He made a few starts prior to that, however, but last year won 4 and lost 3. Infield and outfield way off the right side. They have the shift on for Matthews. And right now, Niekro's out in front of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. No score here in the 2nd inning. Ground ball right side. Boy, did you see that ball go to second base. Woodward threw to Francona. That ball wobbled all over the place. It not only knuckled up, it knuckled out to second. That ball went about 4 or 5 different ways before Woodward made the play on it. Here's Jim Landis. That might be a hazard on the fielders fielding those knuckleballs, because that ball was jiggling all the way down to second base. Here's Jim Landis, right-handed batter now. Landis batting .258. He has 12 runs batted in. Niekro checks his sign. The right-hander winds. Here's the pitch to Jim. Ball line outside, ball 1. Euchre's using the oversized catcher's mitt. That was the one, you know, that Paul Richards designed quite a few years ago, and then the original one was outlawed, and then they cut it down, although it's still a little bit bigger than the normal-sized catcher's mitt. And Lowell, you'll notice that it he handles it just like a first baseman's mitt. It's very soft.
I noticed. He squeezed the ball just like a first baseman's glove.
2 balls, no strikes. Of course, the complete flexibility of that mitt is very important. Here's the pitch to Landis now. A little bit high and inside, ball 3, 3-0. 1 out, nobody on base. Euchre has dropped only 2 pitches. I'm keeping track here to see how many to get away from him today. Last time out in the complete game that Niekro pitched, I understand quite a few of them got away from him. Here's the 3-0 pitch to Landis. Takes all the way for a strike. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike on the Houston left fielder. In the first game at Chicago, the Yankees have jumped out in front of the White Sox 2-0. Al Downing against Gary Peters. That's the only doubleheader scheduled today in the American League. The White Sox lead the American League still. Here's the pitch to Jim. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Full count. Minnesota 5 and Detroit 1 in the 6th. Catfish Hunter all the way for the A's in that one. Oh, we have a double shutout going in Washington. Boston and Washington in the 8th, no score. Lee Stang against Phil Ortega. And Minnesota-Cleveland scoreless at the end of 4. Jim Cott against Sam McDowell. Here's the full-up pitch now to Landis. Drive in the deep left center field. But Alou is over, and he just caught it right off his shoe tops. Alou evidently misjudged that or lost it for just a second, and he had to reach down at the last second and grab it right off the turf. 2 away. Here's Bob Aspromonte. The other game in the American League is California 4, Baltimore 2 in the 5th inning. Ricky Clark has gone the distance for California in that game. Well, there's Aspro batting .290, 5 homers and 28 runs batted in. Aspro has a 9-game hitting string going. Here's the first pitch by Niekro, and he's going to bunt that knuckleball, and he fouled it off. Strike 1. Longest hitting string of the year, 9 games. For a Houston ball player, Julio Gotay got up to 9 before he was stopped last night. And Astros string is alive coming into this one. 12 for 32 in his last 9 games, hitting at a 375 clip. Foul away. Hopper back toward the stand, strike 2. Well, the Astros have picked up a couple hits, a single by Jackson and a double by Wynn in the first inning, but no run resulted, as prior to Wynn's double off the wall and left, Jackson was nipped off first by Negro. Here's the 2-strike windup by the knuckleballer, and it's a little bit low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another one got away from Euchre that time. Houston nothing and Atlanta nothing. Negro picks up the sign again. And the next pitch on the way to Astro is low and outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. St. Louis tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. That could be a pretty fair pitcher's battle tomorrow night. Bob Gibson against Mike Cuellar. Cardinals will be in for 2 games, tomorrow night and Tuesday night. Here's the 2-2 pitch by Negro to Astro. Fly ball center field. Mac Jones just barely moves a bit back into his left, and that retires the side. 3 up and 3 down for Houston in the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. Houston nothing and Atlanta nothing.
Here's news about the best thing that's happened to iced tea since ice. Instant Maryland Club Tea. If you drink Instant Maryland Club Tea because you're in a hurry, well, that's the wrong reason. Slow down and sip. Really taste the lively instant tea that Maryland Club experts make. Because taste is what our instant tea is all about. It has a big golden flavor that always comes smiling through. Lemon makes it brighter. Sugar brings out a new side of it. And a splash of cream makes it a real smoothie. The good taste of instant Maryland Club tea comes from special varieties of tea, blended to accent the rich, fresh brew flavor. Everything, even the way we make tea into an instant, puts flavor first. So, flavor is the real reason to be in a hurry for instant Maryland Club tea. Now, hurry up and make...
Well, we're moving on to the 3rd inning here at the Astrodome, and before play gets underway again, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Astros Baseball Network.
Radio Houston 95.0, this is KPRC. At 29 minutes before 3, it's 95 degrees on the KPRC patio.
0-0, top of the 3rd. Now let's hear from Lowell Pass.
Thank you, Gene, and it'll be Bob Euchre, the catcher, leading off. He's a right-hand batter. Up for his first time this afternoon in a scoreless game. Woodward and the pitcher Negro to follow, and the tall, lanky right-hander Wilson is ready to pitch. Don has struck out a couple of them. Here's the windup now. The pitch on the way. High for a ball. Wilson will throw the high fastball quite frequently, and he is getting a lot of mileage out of it. He's had a lot of the hitters start battling that ball, attacking, but they have not been too successful with it. The pitch. There's a strike. He hit the outside edge. 1 ball and 1 strike. Don Wilson out in quest of his 4th victory. He's 3-3 on the season with a .350 earned run average. He's coming up with the next pitch. Strike call over the outside edge. A beauty of a curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wilson has 64 strikeouts on the season already. Not too bad for a rookie. He's getting a sign from Dave Adlish. Here's the rock back. In comes the pitch. Ball low and outside. Ball 2, strike 2. Fans, if you're just now dialing in on the Astro Baseball Network, wondering, well, things that are the topics of conversation, like, has Wynn hit a home run? Well, he came within just, he hit a double off of the left field wall up near the home run marker. And we've got a lot of things to be telling you about that and some other hitters. The pitch swung on and missed, and he breezed him. It's 1 away. That time, Euchre went for that high fastball, and he was left in a trance as he missed, as if he had swung right through the ball. Then he looked at Don Wilson in disbelief. Here's Woodward hitting at .205. Woody is 30 for 146 with 9 runs batted in, and he has 3 doubles with 1 triple. The right-hand hitter up there. Play him just about medium deep, slightly to pull in the outfield. The pitch is away to the right-hand batter for a ball. Jim Wynn has 35 total bases in the last 8 games. Unbelievable. Here's the pitch. Low for a ball. It's 2 balls and no strikes. We are 0-0. The Astros have come up with the 2 hits. And the Astros are becoming the talk of the country with all the slugging by Wynn and Staub and so on. Here's the pitch. Ball up tight against the hitter, 3 balls and no strikes. Phil Niekro, the pitcher, is on deck. All right, they'll look for the sign, and now the batter steps back. Wilson to the rosin. Big, tall right-hander. One of the real fine-looking youngsters. Here's the pitch, and it's in there for a strike call. 3-1. Fans, I tell you, you're really missing some excitement and fun if you're not seeing the baseball action here in the Astrodome. Just ask anybody who's been coming out here. Last night, people are still floating on cloud 9. Those who came to see the fireworks, and they saw it for the explosive attack of home run hitting by Houston with Jim Wynn, and Eddie Matthews sewed up the old ball game. Here's the pitch. Strike call. It's right down the middle. How are you chugging in there, Don? Ball 3 and strike 2. And Don determined to stay in that strike zone on those 2 pitches. So let's see if he'll have Woodward fishing for a little something on the outside, or maybe just off the strike zone. Here's the windup. The pitch swung on and fouled back. He had it coming down along about letter high, that fastball, and it's 3-2. No score. This is the final of the 4-game set, and the St. Louis Cardinals come into town tomorrow night. Here's Wilson ready now. The pitch on the way, swung on and fouled off. Again up and back, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. I have a question for you. Who will be the all-star center fielder for the National League team this year if he keeps hitting and going the way he is? No question who will be. Here's the pitch. Swung on into right field. Staub goes back. He's under it now, waiting. He's got it for the out. Rusty's showing him how to come in and fade back.
Well, there's a problem also as far as the All-Star Club is concerned with the usual regulars, you know, like Aaron and Clemente and Mays. And you're talking about Jim Wynn, I know, but we have a fellow out in right field that has pretty good credentials for this year's All-Star game.
I'm glad.
Also.
I was going to get around to the redhead. Somebody better give us some scrounging room here. We're coming into our own here. We're growing up. All right, here's Niekro now, and takes low and outside for a ball. If Wynn continues at his pace, he has just got to be the all-star center fielder. Tradition notwithstanding. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled away to the right side. 1 ball to 1 strike. We'll be listing some of the things that are really happening and going on here with the Astros, and things that are really exciting the fans here in the Astrodome for you as we run through these couple of innings for you. Right-hand batter Niekro. Feet up close together, stands deep in the box, and here's the pitch. Swung on and missed, and it's strike 2. Wilson is firing that baseball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 0-0. Don Wilson has completed 2 games, has started 11 times, and been used in relief a couple of times. Shakes off a sign. Working with Adlish, wants another. OK's this one. He's ready. Here's the rock back. In comes the pitch. High and away. Ball 2, strike 2. Seems that he wants to dish up that high slider to Niekro and have him go for it. Aspromani, Jackson, Gotay, and Matthews on the infield. Staub, Wynn, and Landis in the outfield. The windup now, the 2-2 delivery. Struck him out, swing and a miss, and he breezed him to retire the side. 4 strikeouts for Don Wilson. Well, we go into the last half of inning number 3 here at the Astrodome. It's Houston 0 and the Atlanta Braves 0.
Vaguely familiar? You've probably heard it this way.
When you're out of slips, you're out of beer.
carefully brewed beer in the world. That's Schlitz, with 1,174 careful brewing steps in every drop. Those people at the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee and other cities, really know what they're brewing.
There's just one Schlitz, yeah, nothing else comes near. When you're out of Schlitz,
Not me.
you're out of beer. If you like it light with a big taste too, there's only one brew that will do. When you're out of Schlitz,
Never.
you're out of beer. Rio Gusto in the great light beer Schlitz.
Oh, yes, enjoy a cold Schlitz right now. Well, we're ready for the last half of the third. Negro still finishing with the warm-ups, and it'll be Don Wilson, then Gotye and Jackson. Some of the things that I referred to a moment ago that are going on with these Astros for 1967 got off to a miserable start. Agreed. But coming on strong now, coming back and doing battle with the top members of the National League. Cardinals, Cincinnati, San Francisco, and a tough battle in this series with the Atlanta Braves. We have Jim Wynn hitting at an unbelievable clip in home runs and extra bases. Rusty Staub up among the leaders, just about second best in the league in batting average. Dave Adlish up there takes ball high on the inside. And we have Eddie Matthews closing in on home run number 500. All of these things are happening and getting unbelievable starting pitching for the first time in our brief history. Here's the wind-up, the pitch. Strike from Houston, nothing, and the Atlanta Braves, nothing.
Sound vaguely familiar? You've probably heard it this way.
When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
The most carefully brewed beer in the world. That's Schlitz, with 1,174 careful brewing steps in every drop. Those people at the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee and other cities, really know what they're brewing.
There's just one Schlitz, yeah, nothing else comes near. When you're out of Schlitz,
Not me.
you're out of beer. If you like it light with a big taste too, there's only one brew that will do. When you're out of Schlitz,
Never.
you're out of beer. Rio Gusto in the great light beer Schlitz.
Oh, yes, enjoy a cold Schlitz right now. Well, we're ready for the last half of the third. Negro still finishing with the warm-ups, and it'll be Don Wilson, then Gotye and Jackson. Some of the things that I referred to a moment ago that are going on with these Astros for 1967 got off to a miserable start. Agreed. But coming on strong now, coming back and doing battle with the top members of the National League. Cardinals, Cincinnati, San Francisco, and a tough battle in this series with the Atlanta Braves. We have Jim Wynn hitting at an unbelievable clip in home runs and extra bases. Rusty Staub up among the leaders, just about second best in the league in batting average. Dave Adlish up there takes ball high on the inside. And we have Eddie Matthews closing in on home run number 500. All of these things are happening and getting unbelievable starting pitching for the first time in our brief history. Here's the wind-up, the pitch. Strike call as Adlish looks at that slider over the outside edge. 1 ball and 1 strike. So, I say you're really missing something if you're not coming out and enjoying what the other people are screaming about out here. Here goes the wind-up now. The pitch on the way. Swung on, foul away. That knuckleball, as Adlish tried to time the pattern of it coming up, zigzagging. This is like throwing popcorn up there, or cotton candy, something of that order. 1 ball, 2 strikes. No score if you just dialed in. Last half of the third. Negro ready. Serves it. Swung on and missed. And it's out of the catcher's mitt. He puts it on him. Strike 3. And Adlish goes down swinging. 1 away. Don Wilson to come up next.
Well, let's see. That's the second strikeout for the knuckleballer. Negro will throw the knuckleball about 90% of the time. There's a look down at Busby coaching third. Wilson steps in now. Negro 1-2, lost 2 with a 141 earned run average. And pretty good credentials because he's pitched 50 2/3 innings. They're pulling Wilson and playing him fairly deep for a pitcher. Here's the first one, bunting, and it's foul off of the third base line. He got a little bit of wood on that one. If he could have gotten it more towards, let's say, short, between third and short, he might have singled the left field for the bunt. Strike one, one out, none on. Julio Gotay is the on-deck man. Wilson is batting at 107. He has 3 for 28 with a double and 1 run batted in. He's a better hitter than that, but he is concentrating more on his pitching, and that's reasonable to figure that. He's a rookie. Has a check swing and a bouncer going down to the second baseman. Up with it. Woodward's throw to first in time, and it's 2 away. So here in the lower part of our batting order, we are 2 down, none on, and here's Julio Gotay. He has struck out in his only appearance. Julio steps up with a 306 average, 3 runs batted in. 301 average for Julio, and he's been above the 300 mark since he has suited up in an Astro uniform, low and outside. Little Joe Morgan arriving back in for today. Had a sign up in his place down there. The locker says, "Notice, bulletin, Joe. Coco needs a second baseman. Hurry down here." Pitch bouncing down to the second baseman. Up with it. Woodward over to first in time, and that's 3 men gone. Well, up and down in order for the Astros here. No runs, no hits. None left on. There were no brave errors. At the end of 3 innings of play in the Astrodome, Houston nothing, and the Atlanta Braves nothing. Man, it's a hot one today, isn't it? It's the kind of day when you can really appreciate these famous words. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. And this is no time to run out with a great light beer with gusto. It's the easiest way I know to cool off a big thirst. Just pop open a Schlitz and pour out a tall, frosty glassful. Now that's the way to beat the heat in a big way. The first hearty swallow of that real gusto satisfies your thirst like nothing else can. And the rest of that Schlitz, well, that satisfies you. Only the most carefully brewed beer in the world could do so much for man-sized thirst. So if this hot weather's got you in a big way, beat it in a big way with a cold, frosty glass of Schlitz, the great light beer with real gusto. You better check now and make sure you've got plenty of Schlitz on hand. Remember, when you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. Wilson getting the final warm-ups now. Alou will be the leadoff batter. Francona and Aaron to follow up. And we've got a pitcher's duel through the first 3 innings. Houston, no runs on 2 hits. The Braves, no runs and no hits. Felipe Alou grounded out second to first his first try. He came on hitting .286 with 7 homers and 17 runs batted in. One of the truly fine all-around ball players. Felipe is up there. Ready to go. Wilson rocks back and delivers. First pitch is in there for strike call. A beauty. Are you chunking in there, Don? Fans, you're really missing a treat when you're missing these games. Be out here tomorrow night. If you can't make it right now, long about now, if you're in the vicinity, come on and see some of the action today. Here's the pitch. Foul up and to the right side for a foul strike 2. Tomorrow night, the St. Louis Cardinals. Bob Gibson and Mike Cuellar. Wilson checking his sign from Dave Adlish. Dave did an outstanding job for us in the game last night. Here's the pitch. Ball just a little outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Just a couple of little departments now of improvement. Maybe a little better, a more effective relief pitching, and perhaps a little bit better base running, and we're beyond our way. As far as home runs now, we were, about 4-1 behind the league against us just, a couple of weeks ago. Now we're almost even up with the National League in home runs. The Astros have hit 41, and all of the league against us, 47 homers. In complete games, now I mentioned that starting pitching, we have completed 15, and the league against us, 16. So we're even up there. Here's the wind-up, the pitch. Swung on, a little number at the plate, foul. And the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Felipe has, in addition to 7 homers, 13 doubles and 3 triples. And these are among his 67 hits. Gives you an idea of what this boy can do. You can give him the first baseman's glove, he'll go right there. He said yesterday that he hits better when he's playing first base, but he says, I'm not a first baseman, I'm an outfielder, and I'm happier out in the outer gardens. All right, Wilson rocks back. Here it comes. Low and away. Ball 2, strike 2. So Jimmy Wynn being the topic of conversation now, along with Rusty Staub and his red-hot batting average of .342. And like Gene pointed out, don't forget Aspromonte has a 9-game hitting streak alive. And Eddie Matthews closing in on home run number 500. Don't miss it. Be here when it comes. It could happen tomorrow or the next night. The pitch. Swung on it. Grounded down to the second baseman. Gota follows the ball. Reaches, gets it, throws to first. Got him. Hey, what a play. This Gota is quite a colorful performer out there. And gets the fleet-footed Alou for out number 1. That brings on Tito Francona. Francona has hit well in the series. He's upped his average to .260. He was out his first time on a pop to short. Left-hand batter as Wilson brings on the first pitch now and swing and miss for strike 1. He did the same thing the first time at bat today. Tito has 6 RBIs with 1 homer, 1 double. You get someone like Francona to help out and fill in, sort of spot in and around as a substitute. High for the ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. And someone like Euchre to help out in catching, say, the knuckleballers. Well, right away, Torrey is injured and out for a couple of weeks, and Euchre becomes the regular catcher, and Tito is regular at first base for a while. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. He tried to check it. He was tied up into a pretzel that time. That ball broke so sharply. Francona gives argument to the umpire on that. Prime words there, and then they're back into position. Francona steps right up. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Wilson operating. Here's the pitch from Don. Low and inside. Ball 2 and strike 2. In the next inning at bat for Houston, Jackson, Wynn, and Staub. I like the way Wilson is pacing himself out there. As a rookie, I think he'd had 5 or 6 years behind him. The pitch swung on and missed, and he breezed him. It's 5 strikeouts for John Wilson. He's my modern-day Satchel Paige. That's what I've tagged him. He doesn't really have that old ephus pitch, nor does he have the hesitation pitch. I think Satchel featured his hesitation pitch. All right, now here's a look in by Wilson, and the great slugger Hank Aaron is up there. Here's the pitch, and it's low and away. One of the writers in our local sports page was interviewing Hank Aaron, and he asked about when he's going to get his 500th homer, and he said, well, I think I'll get it, but said I'm going to have to hurry or Jim Wynn is going to overtake me and beat me to it. The way he's hitting them. The pitch, swung on and missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cubs and the Mets are in extra innings, 3 and 3. Outfield deep. Adley says, hold up. They want to look at the baseball. Aaron had the umpire call it in. It's 1 ball and 1 strike, 2 outs. Hank Aaron, the batter. Perhaps you have not been briefed on Aaron's work at the plate. And boy, you can say one thing. He's all around great. He has 43 RBIs, 17 homers, 10 doubles, 1 triple, and a .329 average.
Now Wilson is ready to bring it up. As his sign is the 1-1 delivery on the way with 2 men down. Swung on, then missed. He couldn't check it. He tried to pull out of it and hurt that left wrist. He comes out of there snapping that left hand around as if he sort of pulled his wrist. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wilson again with that high hard one on the inside. That's what you call hard ball, fellas. Here's the windup, the pitch, and it's low and away, and he's getting faster and harder with those pitches. Ball 2, strike 2, 2 down. Mac Jones waiting to come up next. Hank Aaron has been up 223 times this year, and he has a total of 73 hits. Here's Wilson now with a 2-2 delivery to Hank Aaron. Struck him out. And he breezed him. Strikeout number 6. Twice in succession that he has mowed down Hank Aaron. Well, no runs, no hits, none left. There were no errors, and Wilson looks sensational. We go into the last half of the 4th inning. It's Houston nothing, and the Braves nothing.
There's just one slip, yeah, nothing else comes near. When you're out of slits, you're out of beer. Just one beer fits, yeah, this great one here. When you're out of slits, you're out of beer. If you like it light with a big taste too, there's only one brew that will do. When you're out of slits, you're out of beer.
Those people at the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee, and other cities really know what they're brewing.
Real gusto in the great light beer.
Okay, here we go for activity in the last half of the 4th inning. Sonny Jackson, who got the first hit in the ball game, 1 of 2 off Necro. Sonny leads off, and then Jimmy Wynn followed him with a double. But Jackson had been picked off prior to Jim Wynn's stroke up against the facing of the left field barrier. 6 major leaguers have hit 500 or more homers in their careers. Eddie Matthews is closing in on the mark. In case you were not tuned in, Matthews poled one into the center field seats last night for number 498. How about those apples, huh? He's 2 away. Jackson up there now. Sonny hitting at 224. The right-hander Necro ready. And the pitch is swung on and fouled away from the plate to the back, and it's strike 1. Jackson has 57 hits, 13 RBIs. Little Sonny has doubled 10 times, and he has 3 triples. No score in the ballgame if you've just dialed in. Wading through these innings now with these pitchers, both effective, both right-handers. And, of course, Necro is the knuckleball specialist of the Braves. You've just dialed in wondering who the Atlanta Braves are pitching today. Here's the pitch. High for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Wynn waiting on deck. The explosive Jimmy Wynn. And we'll have some comments from one of the greats of baseball to pass along concerning the great hitting of Rusty Staub, too. Here's the pitch. Swung on and up the middle. Wynn plated him with a shot down the right field line. 2 doubles for Jimmy Wynn today. All right, working now. Here's Necro with Rusty waiting the pitch, and Staub swings and fouls back. Staub trying to time that knuckler as it faded away from him. Shot down the right field line. 2 doubles for Jimmy Wynn today. All right, working now. Here's Necro with Rusty waiting the pitch, and Staub swings and fouls back. Staub trying to time that knuckler as it faded away from him, and the count is ball 2 and strike 2. Yeah, you get down here and about this point in the ball game, try to score a couple and see if we can pull it off. And we've scored 1. A good chance to plate another one here. Ball 2, strike 2. A knuckleball pitcher is a sort of a fellow, though, who can give up 1 or 2 runs, say in the first, second, or third inning, and then go on and
slam the door and throw the key away against you the rest of the way. Here's the pitch. Swung on, foul away, and it got Euchre around that mask. He went down as if he'd been tagged by a heavyweight right on the point of the chin there. Let's see, in total bases now in the last 8 games, Jimmy Wynn has 37 total bases. I had 2 on that. Is that all right? Add 2 more. 39 total bases. Pardon me, I missed that first 2-bagger. Just adding up here. We're almost going to take a computer here to work out Jimmy Wynn's great work for the last week or 2. Stop, waving that bat. Look at that stance, would you? Wynn widens his lead off second. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jimmy go to third, try to steal. He's done it twice this year. Isn't that something when you think of a boy who weighs 168 pounds and can hit tape measure homers, and not only can steal second, but he steals third. And makes it look easy a lot of times. Here's the stretch. The pitch on the way to Rusty. Swung on a shot that's foul off of the right field line. Oh, boy, he really creamed that one.
Well, it might be quite obvious to a lot of people, but total bases, 4 for a home run and 2 for a double and so forth, and that's not brought out too much. Total bases are a statistic that is pretty much among the statisticians, but it's 1 for each base.
Very good. Thank you, Gene. Staub out now. He was not quite ready as Niekro kind of shook off a couple of signs there, and actually, when you got someone who, well, that's his bread and butter pitch, knuckleball, you just got to look for it. Just like a fastball pitcher, you got to look for that first and go from there on to everything else. Here's the pitch. Stop, swings, and drives one through. Right field, base hit. Wynn is turning third. Aaron comes on with a throw. Wynn goes back to third base. Rusty has singled to right field. And they played it wisely again. Well, while we wait now for Eddie Matthews to step up, let's pause 10 seconds here for station identification. This is the Astros Baseball Network.
And this is KPRC Radio Houston 95.0. At 3 o'clock, it's 95 degrees in Houston.
Here's Eddie Matthews. We're talking about things that are going on with these Astros now as they have really gotten on track. 9 consecutive games for Rusty Staub hitting safely. Gotay was stopped at 9 straight. Aspromonte has a string of 9 consecutive games hitting safely. And here is someone else who's a topic for conversation, Eddie Matthews. He grounded out on a hard bouncer his first time up today. Runners at third and first. 1 in, none out. The pitch low and inside for a ball. At about what point in the season do you think that Eddie Matthews will come up with number 500? Don't miss it. Be here by all means. 1-0. There's a look in by Niekro. He's slowing that pace. The stretch ready, the pitch, and it's ball inside. It almost got away, and Euchre gave it a battle. He was into the dirt off to the right side behind Eddie Matthews when he finally got possession of the ball. 2-0. I was talking with Eddie Matthews in the clubhouse, and I said, Eddie, I had the good fortune of being on the microphone when Willie Mays hit his 500 Major League home run, and I've got a tape of it. And if I happen to be on, or if Gene or Harry happen to be on, well, we'll give you a tape of both of them. Likewise to Willie Mays. There's a swing and a miss. Ball 2, strike 1. Matthews hitting at 257. Just don't overlook the important statistics. He has 21 RBIs, 5 home runs, 2 triples, 6 doubles. Jim Wynn on third, Rusty Staub on first. Wynn is still blazing hot with that bat of his. So is Rusty. Here's the stretch, the pitch. Swung on, a ground ball to the second baseman. Double play ball. Rusty's out at second, on to first base. Beat it across, and Wynn scores it 2-0. And it's a run batted in for Eddie Matthews. How you going in there, gang? 2-0. The Astros lead. And it's only 1 out with Jim Landis coming up. So give Eddie Matthews another run batted in. All right, that brings on Landis, who flied deep to left field his first time up. It's Houston 2 runs on 5 hits. Nothing for the Braves. Landis, playing left field, has done a great job for us. The pitch is outside for the ball. I'm sure that most all will agree that Landis has done better than was really expected of him. A .256 average and 12 runs batted in for him, and played fine defensive ball. Matthews leads off. The pitch. Outside for a ball. 2-0. Euchre was ready to peg one on up to second. Matthews was looking down that way. Don't forget that Eddie Matthews not only hit his 498th home run to win the game as he drilled one into the seats in center field, but he also stole a base in that game. Most versatile ball player. And like I say, he might have several more good seasons ahead of him. And he's so happy to be wearing that Houston uniform. Here's the pitch. He's breaking for second. The hit and run, and it's fouled up into the seats off to the right side. So Matthews was full speed ahead with a pitch. Ball 2, strike 1, 1 out. Talking to Mac Jones, center fielder, at the batting cage before the game, and I said, I tell you somebody who can pole the baseball, and he sort of slowly turned his head back around and said, who? And I said, Jim Wynn. And he just sort of smiled with a sort of a okay smile. And I said, is it true that you sing like Lee May? He said, I don't, but I think I may have to start it for a while, the way I'm hitting. There's a bunt try, and it's fouled off of that left field, off the third base side, on the left side. Ball 2, strike 2. Matthews on at first base. Well, that ball Matthews hit in the second inning, had he gotten it up, it would have scattered some people up in those seats up there in the right field sector. They would have been scrambling, too, for that souvenir, huh? Ball 2, strike 2. Outfield well around full. Here's the pitch. Low and outside. Ball 3, strike 2. And should Landis get on, then Bob Aspromonte will have a turn. A lot of action, a lot of excitement, fun here at the Astrodome already in this game as we pushed over 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning, and Houston leading 2-0. All right, Negro, slow worker, and Aaron has taken the liberty to go all the way up into right center field. Here's the pitch, breaking. Ball is hit down to the shortstop. Matthews is breaking on the pitch. The throw to first is just in time, and it's 2 men gone. But Matthews is up at second with Aspromonte coming up. Bob has flied to center and is on the appearance. And as we said, he's been hot with that bat. Actually, Astro came in this ball game today hitting .290. That came as a surprise to a lot of them because that's how consistent he has been with that bat in the last 2 weeks. They're going to put him on and then pitch to Adlish. They've decided to go that route, and you hear the disappointed oohs and ahs and boos from the crowd. There's the third one. So Adlish will come up. And I'm telling you about this Dave Adlish, the type of ball player that he doesn't say much, but he can carry that big bat up to the plate, gradually coming around, getting more contact with the ball. That's been his big problem. And he is called aside by Busby, who whispers a few words to him there, and Euchre goes out to the mound. Adlish struck out his first time up. He came off the wall with a 2-bagger in that game last night, as Adlish did. And he made one of the great throws that I have ever seen at second to pick off an attempted steal. He gunned him right down. Boy, it was a bullseye, too. He's got a great arm. To play this big league brand of baseball, it looks so easy from the stands and all, and the easier it looks, the better they're playing, of course. But you're quite an athlete when you can make it look easy out there in big league baseball, or any kind of baseball. All right, here's the stretch. The pitch on the way. Outside, almost got away, but Euchre scrapped with it again and came up out of the dirt with it. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Adler's hitting it even up 200 now. The Astros have built up their team batting average by around 4 percentage points in the home stand. And that is another fine achievement. Good bit of progress here. Negro studying his sign now. Matthews leads wide off second. The pitch down to Adler. Swung on, and a nubbler goes down to the left side off the third base side. Euchre makes the pickup, throws to first base, and Adler is out just by a whisker. So it's 2-3 if you score the game. Draw a line under that one, boys, and we've come up with 2 runs on 3 hits. Had 2 left. There were no errors. And at the end of 4 innings of play, here in the Astrodome, the score now is Houston 2 and Atlanta nothing. Well, to me, anyway, one of the top moments in a ball game is the shortstop moving far to his right, deep in the hole, coming up with the ball and making that long throw to first. Now, some guys just make that play look so smooth. And smooth is a good word to describe that popular new drink, Schlitz malt liquor. Smooth and less filling. Well, I guess quite a few people have tried Schlitz malt liquor by now, and I suppose a good number of them tried it the first time simply because it was made by the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company. Well, for my money, that's a pretty fair reason for trying it. I mean, you can be good and sure Schlitz feels it's got something good going with its malt liquor, or they just never would have put the name Schlitz on the label. It boils down to this. Nobody makes malt liquor like Schlitz. Nobody. The Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee, and others sit. Well, a very happy time for the hometown fans as Houston has moved out in front 2-0. And now as we get ready for the 5th inning of play coming up, again to the microphone, here's Harry Callis. Harry?
Right, Lowell, thank you very much. Young Don Wilson, the rookie, could not be pitching any better baseball than he has so far, and he'll face Mac Jones, the leadoff for Atlanta, here in the top of the 5th. Astros leading 2-0. Jones was called out on strikes his last time up. Wilson has struck out 6 through the first 4 innings, has walked none, and the Braves are looking for their first base runner. Mac Jones will be followed by Mike Delahose and then Denny Menke here in the 5th. Jones this season has struck out 47 times. He is a big swinger, and is the case with most real hard swinging hitters. They strike out a lot. Don Wilson ready to work. Looks down at Dave Adler. Here's the windup and the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Mighty cut by Jones and a miss. The all-time Major League leader for most strikeouts in a season was former Astro Dave Nicholson, who struck out 175 times while with the White Sox. Now the 0-1 pitch. Ran up in the batter's box as if to bunt and took a pitch low for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Another big swinger who hits a lot of home runs leads the National League for most strikeouts in a season, Richie Allen. He struck out 150 times. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wilson is really throwing hard today. 1 ball, 2 strike count to Mac Jones. Don Wilson, who has 1 decision against Atlanta, it was a loss in relief earlier this year. Big right-hander winds, 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got him. Jones goes down swinging. The 7th strikeout for Don Wilson. Out number 1 here in the 5th, and that will bring up Mike Delahose. Delahose and Menke have been the only 2 in the Brave lineup that have hit the ball sharply at all so far today. Delahose hit a long drive into deep center field that Jim Wynn caught at the warning track his last time up. Delahose looked at one low and away for a ball. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 out, nobody on. Top of the 5th, and the Astros lead it 2-0. Here's the next pitch. Fastball, low, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes to Mike Delahose. Looks down at Bob Kennedy, the third base coach, to see if he is to swing or look at one. Don Wilson ready to work. Here's the windup, the 2-0 pitch called strike 1. That's in there. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, the St. Louis Cardinals in the Astrodome tomorrow and Tuesday nights, followed by the Cincinnati Reds on Wednesday night. Don Wilson ready. Here's his 2-1 pitch. High, ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike to third baseman Mike Delahose. Delahose is taking the place of Cleve Boyer, who has a slightly pulled leg muscle. Boyer will not be out very long. 3 balls and 1 strike. Here's the windup, the 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Good fastball. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Now Don Wilson set. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball hit to second base. Julio Gotay has it. Throws to Matthews. Delahose is out for out number 2. 2 up and 2 down in the 5th, and that will bring up Denny Menke, who flied out to Jim Wynn and deep left center field his last time up. Menke has pretty fair power. He's hit 4 home runs, 24 runs batted in. 244 batting average as he steps in. Don Wilson, 22 years old. Here's the windup and the pitch. High and inside. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Don Wilson probably will have a battle with the Mets' Tom Seaver for Rookie Pitcher of the Year, along with Gary Nolan of Cincinnati. 3 outstanding rookie pitchers. 1 ball and no strikes to Denny Menke. Wilson on the rubber, looks down at Dave Adlish. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Menke takes low and inside with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. Don's record this year is 3 wins and 3 losses. His earned run mark 3.50. Right-hander winds, 2-0 pitch. Inside, ball 3. 3 balls and no strike to the Braves shortstop, Denny Menke. Kneeling in the on-deck circle is catcher Bob Uecker. Wilson down 3-0 to Denny Menke. Here's the 3-0 pitch. That's outside, ball 4. He lost Menke on 4 pitches, and Denny Menke becomes the first base runner for Atlanta this afternoon. He's on at first on a walk with 2 out, and that will bring up catcher Bob Uecker. Uecker struck out his last time up. Bob has not hit well at all this year. The Atlanta catcher has 2 doubles and 8 runs batted in. His batting average as he stands in is 117. But Uecker is an outstanding defensive receiver. Here's the pitch to him. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. Uecker came up to the dugout from the clubhouse this afternoon carrying that big oversized catching glove. He said, I've got to take good care of this one because that's all I've got going for me right now. His bat has been very silent. Here's the next pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. Wilson jumps out in front of catcher Bob Uecker. Denny Menke on at first base. He walked with 2 out here in the top of the 5th. Wilson at the belt. And the 0-2 pitch. Swinging a high fly ball into left field, not deep. Jim Landis drifting in toward the line. Landis right near the foul line, makes the catch, and that retires the side. Landis didn't realize it was the 3rd out, and neither does anybody else, as the Astros stay on the field, and plate umpire Bill Williams is waving them in. That retires the side. Wilson looked around his teammates and said, come on, I'm not going to give him 4 outs. No runs, no hits. No Houston errors, 1 left on. At the end of 4.5 innings of play, it's the Astros 2 and the Atlanta Braves nothing. Bottom of the 5th inning, Don Wilson, the pitcher, will lead off for Houston. He'll be followed by Julio Gotay and then Sonny Jackson to face the knuckleballing specialist, Phil Niekro. When Niekro was warming up this afternoon prior to the game, warm-up catcher Orlando Martinez was wearing a mask. That ball does all kinds of tricks coming up to the plate, and nobody, including pitcher Phil Niekro, knows exactly where that ball is going to go. Don Wilson gets a good hand as he steps up. He grounded out his last time up. Wilson is hitting 103. He has 3 hits, 1 of them a double. Phil Phil Negro looks down at Bob Uecker for the sign. Here's the windup, the pitch to Wilson. He tries to bunt, and it's a strike one. The ball gets by Uecker. That's the 8th pitch that Uecker has dropped. Not all of them have been going by him, though. And a knuckleball pitcher can really give a catcher a fit. No balls, 1 strike to Don Wilson. Wilson will be followed by Gotay and Jackson. Phil Negro winds. Here's his pitch, swinging a ground ball, hit towards second base. Woodward ranging to his left has it, throws to Francona. Wilson is out, and there's 1 down. Woody Woodward moving to his left to make the play on Wilson's ground ball. That will bring up Julio Gotay. Gotay has struck out and grounded out. Julio had his 9-game hitting streak stopped last night. Joe Morgan arrived on the scene this afternoon. Joe arrived to find his locker completely empty and his uniform hidden. And a big sign in his locker saying, "Joe, we understand the Cocoa Tigers need help. We'll see you next year, I hope." First pitch to Gotay is strike 1. It gets by catcher Bob Uecker, a knuckleball. And the instigator of that sign and hiding Joe Morgan's uniform was none other than his roommate, Jim Wynn. 0-1 the count to Julio Gotay with 1 out. Negro's next pitch, that was a fastball, one of the rare fastballs that he throws, and it's high and inside for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Negro says that he throws about 90% knuckleballs. Just occasionally will come in with a fastball. And when he does, of course, you're looking for the knuckleball, and it can be a tough pitch. There's a nubbing pop right to the first baseman, Tito Francona. Little humpback liner to Francona, the first baseman, off the end of Gotay's bat for out number 2. Balls that he throws, and it's high and inside for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Negro says that he throws about 90% knuckleballs. Just occasionally will come in with a fastball. When he does, of course, you're looking for the knuckleball, and it can be a tough pitch. There's a nubbing pop right to the first baseman, Tito Francona. Little humpback liner to Francona, the first baseman, off the end of Gotay's bat for out number 2. And here's Sonny Jackson, who's 2 for 2. The Astros have 5 hits and 2 runs off Negro. Jackson with 2 singles, Wynn with 2 doubles, and Staub with a single. Sonny with his 2 for 2 is now hitting .227. Phil Negro, 28 years old. Comes out of Blaine, Ohio originally. He winds, and the pitch to him is foul back onto the screen, strike 1. Negro's father was a great big fella, 6'3", 230 pounds, and could throw the ball just about as hard as anyone. And his father was always disappointed that Phil, as a youngster, could not throw hard. So he taught Negro the knuckleball while Phil was in grade school. There's a swing and a miss, strike 2 on the knuckleball. And it certainly has paid off because Negro has one of the best in baseball. Phil is not nearly as large a man as his father. Negro stands 6'1" and weighs 180. No balls, 2 strikes to Sonny Jackson with 2 out and nobody on, bottom of the 5th. Here's the pitch. Other knuckler brings Uecker to his knees, but he catches the ball outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count to Sonny Jackson. If Uecker should somehow get injured in this game, that would be all for Negro, because the Braves just have no one that can catch Negro except Bob Uecker. Joe Torre's on the shelf. 1-2 pitch. Just missed a little bit outside. Ball 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes. In fact, the Braves really don't have a second-line catcher. Now that Torre is hurt, Rico Carty did some catching last year. He's also hurt. They have an infielder, Orlando Martinez, that came in last night. 2-2 to Jackson. Negro winds, 2-2 pitch. Bounding ball hit softly over the mound. Woodward will have to hurry. Does not in time. Safe at first base is Sonny Jackson. That will be a base hit for Jackson as he just barely beat the throw by Woody Woodward. Sonny has his third straight hit. This an infield single, and that is hit number 6 off Phil Niekro. Here's Jim Wynn, who has been up twice and has doubled twice. As Jackson crossed the bag, he's coming back to first base, limping ever so slightly, and trainer Jim Ewell goes out to see if Sonny is all right. Trainer Jim Ewell is looking at Sonny, as is Nellie Fox, Astros first base coach. Jackson legging out an infield single, his third consecutive hit. Sonny was holding his right ankle, and now manager Grady Hatton is also going out. Jackson is trying to lean down and bend over to see if that ankle is all right. Jim Ewell talking with him. Grady Hatton also there, along with Nellie Fox and brave first baseman Tito Francona and first base umpire Frank Sikori. That infield single, the third straight hit for Sonny Jackson off Phil Niekro. And the Astros' sixth hit off Niekro. Wynn with 2 doubles and Rusty Staub with a single. Grady Hatton is looking toward the dugout, and he's not going to take any chances with Sonny Jackson. Sonny is going to be taken out here. And Bob Lillis is going to come in to run for Sonny Jackson. So Jackson will have to leave. We'll try to get a report from team trainer Jim Ewell as to the extent of Sonny's injury. They will go to the clubhouse and the Astros training room. Bob Lillis goes in to run for Sonny Jackson with 2 out. Here's Jim Wynn. Wynn, the National League leader, and runs batted in. He's got 48 of them. Right behind Henry Aaron in home runs. Aaron has 17. Wynn is second with 16. Bob Lillis at first base with 2 out. Phil Niekro, the knuckleballer, gets all set. Here's the stretch. And the pitch to Wynn. Swing and a foul back on the screen. Strike 1. You know, you're talking about all-star selections earlier. Based on the performance that Wynn has had so far, you would just, if voting is done justifiably instead of on sentiment, it would have to be Wynn in center field. The players, as you know, vote for the top 8 for the All-Star game, and it's up to the players to decide. And I would imagine that Jimmy will get a bundle of votes from his opponents, especially from opposing pitchers. No balls and a strike to Jim Wynn. Bob Lillis pinch running for Sonny Jackson, who was injured legging out that infield single. Lillis takes a move off. Here's the stretch by Niekro, and his pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. Couldn't come up with a knuckleball. And the count is no balls and 2 strikes. Wynn, with his 2 doubles in this game, has continued his consecutive game hitting streak at 6 consecutive games. Staub upped his to 9 with his hit. Aspromonte still has a 9-game hit streak going in this one, although he has flied out and was intentionally passed. No balls, 2 strikes. The Flea flips off first base. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Brown swing and a miss, and it gets by Euchre, and it's going to be safe at first base, safe all around. Wynn goes down swinging, but it will be a pass ball on catcher Bob Euchre on that knuckleball, which is treacherous to handle. That is Euchre's first pass ball in this ball game. Lillis moves up to second base. Wynn safe at first on the pass ball. That is the 3rd strikeout for Phil Niekro, and that will bring up Rusty Staub. That is the 8th pitch that Euchre has been unable to handle, and the first one that has been costly. 2 on, 2 out. Here's Rusty Staub, who grounded out and singled. The stretch by Phil Niekro, and the pitch to Staub. Ground ball. Tito Francona makes a great grab out. Throws to Niekro in time to retire the side. That was a ground ball that looked for sure like it was going to right, but Francona made a fine play on the ball, diving to his right, flipped the Negro covering, and that retires the Astros in the fifth. No runs, one hit. No Atlanta errors, 2 left on, and the score at the end of 5 innings of play, the Astros 2 and the Atlanta Braves nothing.
You know, for 92 years, National League teams have been bringing great baseball to millions of fans all over the country. And every one of those years, fans have been able to enjoy a great beer. The great light beer with real gusto, Schlitz. Fact is, Schlitz was around even before Abner Doubleday swung that first bat, 118 years to be exact. Yes, there are 118 years of care, pride, and brewing experience in every glass of Schlitz you enjoy. And Schlitz tastes like it. One taste is all it'll take to convince you Schlitz is the most carefully brewed beer in the world. So get next to a major league brew, the one with a real tradition of greatness. It's no wonder everywhere you go, the story's the same. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. Don't be. Get the one and only great light beer with real gusto. Schlitz.
Moving into the top half of the 6th inning, before Woody Woodward steps in, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Astros Baseball Network.
And this is KPRC Radio Houston 95.0. At 28 minutes past 3 on the KPRC patio, 95 degrees.
Bob Willis is going out to play shortstop, replacing Sonny Jackson. We'll have a report from Jim Ewell as soon as possible on Sonny's injury and the extent of it. Woody Woodward looks at a fastball in for called strike 1. Woodward flied out to right his last time up. No balls, 1 strike to Bill Woody Woodward. Wilson's next pitch, fly ball sliced to right. Rusty Staub drifting back. He's there. Redhead makes the catch, 1 down. And we'll bring up pitcher Phil Negro. Negro struck out his last time up. Don Wilson, rookie, pitching superb baseball this afternoon. Don in this game has struck out 7, has a total of 69 strikeouts now on the year. The Braves have had 1 base runner, Menke, who walked in the 5th. Here's the pitch to Negro. He takes a big cut at a fastball and can't come up with it. Strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. 1 out, nobody on, top of the 6th. Wilson winds. Here's his next pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. To the count to Phil Negro. He'll be followed by the top of the order, Felipe Alou. Now the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Threw a fastball right by him. Wilson's 8th strikeout. That is out number 2 here in the 6th, and we'll bring up the top of the order, Felipe Alou. Alou has been up twice, and twice he has grounded out to Julio Gotay. 2 out and nobody on. Playing in the 6th. Felipe Alou, who plays all kinds of positions and plays them all very well, playing left field exclusively in this series. First time we saw him, he was at first base, but Rico Carty is injured. Here's the pitch to Alou. Hard ground ball. Great grab by Esprimati. Throws to first. Great play. Alou is out at first base. And Esprimati saved Wilson a hit with a tremendous play, diving to his left and throwing Alou out by a half a step at first base. No runs, no hits, no Houston errors. A tremendous play by Astro, and nobody left on. The end of 5.5 innings of play. The Astros 2 and the Atlanta Braves nothing.
There's just one Schlitz, yeah, nothing else comes near. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. Just one beer fits, yeah, this great one here. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. you like it light with a big face too, there's only one brew that will do. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
Those people at the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee, and other cities really know what they're brewing.
Real gusto in your drink, light beer.
Bottom of the sixth inning, Eddie Matthews will lead off for Houston, followed by Jim Landis and Bob Aspromati. Team trainer Jim Ewell is standing by down in the clubhouse, and let's call in Jim Ewell now. Doc, what is the condition of Sonny Jackson?
Harry, he has a pull in the right thigh, which is up a little high, and having packed in ice, and maybe we might be able to get him to go tomorrow. It all depends on how he feels, but we'll have to let him sleep on it tonight.
Bill Necro ready to come into Matthews, a tie with a knuckleball, ball one. Well, Doc, we know you'll be taking care of him. There is a possibility that he can be in tomorrow, which means it's not real bad. Is that right?
That's right, Harry. We're going to have our club physician go over him pretty good in about a half an hour from now.
Next pitch is high, ball two. Well, Doc, we want to thank you very much for this report, and for all of us in the broadcast booth, congratulate Sonny on his 3 for 3. We hope to see him back in there tomorrow night. Thank you, Doc.
Okay, Harry.
2 balls and no strikes to Eddie Matthews. He'll be followed by Jim Landis. Here's the pitch. High. That was a fastball that time. 3 balls and no strikes. Every once in a while, you'll see Necro coming in with a fastball. He's down to Matthews. 3 balls, no strikes. Eddie is grounded out twice. He's 0 for 2. Necro gets the sign. Here's the 3-0 pitch on its way to Matthews. Outside, ball 4. Eddie walks on 4 pitches. That's the second walk issued by Necro. The first one was an intentional pass to Aspromati in the 4th, and here's Jim Landis. Landis hit a line shot at Felipe Alou in the 2nd, grounded out in the 4th. Jim is 0 for 2. Cincinnati is out in front of Los Angeles in the 2nd inning in their game of the coast by a score of 2-1. Eddie Matthews on his first base, nobody out, bottom of the 6th. Houston leading 2-0. Necro's pitch. There's a bunt foul down the first base side, and it's strike 1. I talked to Matthews before the game about hitting against this knuckleballing specialist, Phil Necro, and I said, is it easy to bunt on a knuckleball? Is it easier to bunt? He said it's no easier to bunt than it is to hit it because you just have no idea where that ball is going. No balls and a strike to Jim Landis. Matthews at first base, nobody out on the 6th. Now the stretch by Necro, and the pitch. Swinging a foul back upstairs. And the count is no balls and 2 strikes. Necro out in front of Landis. Bob Aspromati is on deck. Necro came into this game with a very fine 1.41 earned run average. Phil's younger brother, Joe, pitches for the Chicago Cubs, but is more of a fastball pitcher. He does know how to throw a knuckler, but doesn't use it very much. Now the 0-2 pitch is high for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Astros got 2 runs in the 4th on Jackson's single, Wynn's double, and Staub's single, and Matthews' ground out. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Necro stretches. 1-2 pitch. There goes Matthews. High. Euchre's throw is going to nail him right on the bag. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jim Landis. Matthews thrown out at second base. Bob Euchre to the second baseman, Woody Woodward, for out number 1. Euchre's throw was right on the bag. The Astros taking a chance that Euchre might not be able to handle that knuckleball, trying to move that runner up to second base, but Euchre not only handled it, but threw the ball right on the money, right on the bag at second base. 2-2 to count to Landis. Here's the pitch. High, ball 3. So it's a full count of 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out now with nobody on in the bottom of the 6th. The St. Louis Cardinals move into the Astrodome tomorrow night with single night games tomorrow and Tuesday night, followed by Cincinnati Wednesday. Here's a pitch, a chopping ball down the third base line. It's foul. And the count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Landis is hitting .254. Final score in the National League. Pittsburgh defeated Philadelphia by a score of 5-3 in their single game. Tommy Sisk won that ball game for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Rick Wise was the loser. 2 home runs, both by Philadelphia in the losing cause, John Callison and Gene Oliver. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Full count to Jim Landis with 1 out. Negro winds. Here's his pitch. Hard ground base hit left field. Landis grounds a single to left. Felipe Alou fields it, rifles it back into the infield. And Jim Landis is on at first base with a ground single. That is hit number 7 for the Astros off Negro, and will bring up Bob Aspromati. Astro flied out to center and was intentionally passed. Aspromati gets a big hand as he steps up following a tremendous defensive play in the top half of this inning. Jim Landis, one of the best base runners in the game, on at first base with 1 out. Here's the stretch. There goes Landis, and Aspromati grounds a foul back behind the plate. Strike 1. Landis will come back to first base. No balls, 1 strike to Bob Aspromati with Jim Landis at first and 1 down. Necro's lifetime Major League record is 8 victories and 8 defeats. Before the acquisition of catcher Bob Uecker, manager Billy Hitchcock had to use Necro in certain spots. He couldn't bring him in with a runner at third because neither Torrey or Oliver could handle him that well. There's a ground ball hit foul down the third base side. And, of course, in a tight ball game with the opposition with a runner at third, get a pass ball and schools out. 0-2 to Aspro. Jim Landis, first base with a base hit. Now the stretch by Necro, a throw to first base. Landis back in plenty of time. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swinging a ground ball, hit to second. Could be 2. Woodward to Menke, to Francona, double play. Aspromati grounds into a sharp double play. Woody Woodward to Denny Menke to Tito Francona. And the Astros are down in the 6th with no runs on 1 hit. No Atlanta errors and none left on. And the score at the end of 6 full innings of play is the Astros 2 and the Atlanta Braves nothing.
And while we're waiting for more of this exciting baseball action to resume, we sure hope you're lighting up the great Texas smoke, Lavera. And sure as you're a Texan, you know that's where the cigar action is, and the smoking pleasure. That's right. When we call Lavera the great state's great cigar, it's not just talk. After all, this is the #1 selling cigar in Texas. And every Lavera is a real smooth-smoking, Texan-pleasing combination of tobacco, specially blended for Texas taste. And as we say, you can't hardly get Lavera any place but Texas. And what with Lavera's being so easy to buy and enjoy anywhere in Texas, what real cigar-smoking man would want to leave, huh? Silky smooth Lavera, the great state's great cigar.
Top of the 7th inning. And here's where it starts to get very, very interesting. The Atlanta Braves have 1 base runner. Denny Menke walked in the 5th. Tito Francona will lead off in the 7th. He'll be followed by Hank Aaron and then Mac Jones. Don Wilson, the rookie right-hander, is pitching a gem. Francona has popped up and struck out. The Astros lead it 2-0. Wilson gets ready to work to Tito Francona. Has his sign from Dave Adlish. Here's the windup. And the pitch to Francona. Fastball, high, ball 1. 1 ball and no strike. Be sure to stay tuned immediately following the game this afternoon for the Astros wrap-up show. We have a rundown of all of the Major League scores. Lots of activity in the majors today. There's a slider inside, ball 2. And also the star of the game on our post-game interview. So stay tuned right after the ball game. 2 balls, no strikes for Tito Francona. Nobody on, nobody out. Top of the 7th. Don Wilson
2-0 pitch. Check swing, but it's in with a fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Francona has been extremely pesky in this series. Through the first 3 games, Francona has picked up 7 hits. His overall batting average this year is .257, but for Atlanta, since he has joined this ball club, he's hitting .420. Francona calls time as he didn't have a good toe hold. Now gets back into the batter's box. 2 balls and 1 strike. Don Wilson winds. Here's a 2-1 pitch. It's high, ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike. Adlich walks halfway out to the mound to try to settle down Wilson. Aspromonte at third. Bob Lillis short. Julio Gotay at second. Eddie Matthews first. Dave Adlich behind the plate. Now the windup, the 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2, a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Tito Francona. Wilson almost lost it in the 6th on a sharp ground ball by Felipe Alou, but Aspromonte made a tremendous play. Swing and a miss, strike 3, got it. Francona goes down swinging. Strikeout number 9 for Don Wilson. Out number 1 in the 7th. Wilson has 8 more outs to go. Here's Hank Aaron, who was twice struck out, both times swinging. 1 out in the 7th. Don Wilson winds the pitch. Called strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. Now the fans here at the Astrodome, a crowd of right around 24,000 are buzzing in anticipation. Here's the next pitch. Slider miss low. 1 ball, 1 strike count to Hank Aaron with 1 out and nobody on. Don Wilson set. 1-1 pitch. Swinging a high pop-up, foul, back out of play. Onto the screen. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes to Hammer and Hank Aaron. Aaron is hitting .326. National League leader in home runs with 17. 43 runs batted in. He's third behind Jim Wynn and Roberto Clemente in that department. 1-2. Wilson's out in front of him. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Way high with a fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I can't ever recall seeing Don Wilson throw the ball harder than he has thrown this afternoon. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out in the 7th. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Foul at the plate. Adlich could not hang on to it. Just in and out of Dave Adlich's glove. Couldn't hang on to the foul tip. Aaron just barely got his bat on that baseball. Fans started to roar, but plate umpire Bill Williams signified a foul tip. That was not held on to. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the 2-2 pitch. Slider missed away. Ball 3. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Wilson has struck out 9 so far. Now as the count folds to Hank Aaron at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Aaron steps out of the batter's box. Dave Adlich gives the sign to Don Wilson. Wilson gets ready to work. Now the 3-2 pitch, high and inside, ball 4, he lost him. Aaron becomes the second base runner for Atlanta. The second walk issued by Don Wilson. Menke walked in the 5th. Aaron has walked here in the 7th. With 1 out, here's Mac Jones, who was called out on strikes and went down swinging. Hank Aaron at first base talking to his former teammate and longtime friend Eddie Matthews. Here's the stretch. And the pitch to Jones. Swings and fouls one back into the seat. Strike 1. No balls, 1 strike to Mac Jones. Should be quite a pitcher's duel tomorrow night when the St. Louis Cardinals come into town. Bob Gibson against Mike Cuellar. Cardinals are in again on Tuesday night. Then this homestand concludes with a
ladies' night game against Cincinnati Wednesday. Here's the stretch. The 0-1 pitch. High with a changeup. 1 ball and 1 strike. That's one of the few changes that Wilson has thrown this afternoon. He has been relying almost entirely on that blazing fastball along with a good hard slider. 1 ball, 1 strike count to Mac Jones with 1 on and 1 out. Henry Aaron is on at first base. Here's the stretch by Wilson. And the 1-1 pitch. Swinging a ground foul back behind the plate. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jones. He'll be followed by Mike Delahose. 1-2 to Jones. Mike Delahose kneeling in the on-deck circle. Carol Sambera is getting up in the Houston bullpen. The first bullpen activity for either club this afternoon. Don Wilson slowing down his pace a bit with Aaron at first base and 1 out. And Mac Jones tires of waiting. He steps out of the batter's box. Before Denny Menke walked in the 5th inning, Wilson retired 14 men in order. Then since Menke's walked, Don retired 5 in order before Aaron has walked here in the 7th. Dave Adlish goes out to talk to Don Wilson. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count to Mac Jones. Now Adlish gets back behind the plate. Jones stands in. Don Wilson ready. Here's his stretch. Throws to first base, nearly throw it away. A low throw. Matthews scoops it up. Don Wilson at the belt. 1-2 pitch, swinging a foul back to the base of the screen, and a count holds at a ball and 2 strikes to Mac Jones. The rookie right-hander is working on a real gem this afternoon, and he's out in front of Mac Jones. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Aaron takes a short lead off first base. Don Wilson stretches. 1-2 pitch, way high, ball 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Aaron bluffs the go. Jim Wynn is backed up in center field. Rusty Staub is playing deep in right, and Landis is deep in left. Eddie Matthews trots in to talk to Don Wilson. 2-2 to count to Mac Jones. Wilson is working very carefully. The Astros lead it 2-0, playing in the top of the 7th. Now Don Wilson is set. Here's the stretch. And the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got him. Mac Jones goes down swinging. He is victim number 10. The 10th strikeout for Don Wilson this afternoon. That's down number 2 in the 7th. Jones has struck out all 3 times that he has been up, and manager Grady Hatton is coming out to talk to Don Wilson. Here is Mike Delahose, who has hit the ball better than any other Atlanta Brave this afternoon with his long drive into deep center field that Jim Wynn caught. Delahose is 0 for 2. Haddon trots back to the dugout. Now Don Wilson has 7 more to go. 7 more out. The Braves have had 2 base runners. Denny Menke in the 5th on a walk. Aaron in the 7th on a walk. Here's Delahose, and the pitch to him is low for a ball, ball 1. 1 ball and no strike. Wilson looking in at Adlish. Henry Aaron moves off first base. Not a big lead. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Called strike 1 on the inside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. A big youngster who originally came from Monroe, Louisiana, now from Compton, California. Has a 1 ball, 1 strike count to Mike Delahose. Here's the stretch. And the 1-1 pitch. Swinging a fly ball to center field. Jim Wynn is there. And Wilson needs 6 more outs. That retires the side. No runs, no hits. No Houston errors. One left on at the end of 6.5 innings of play. It's the Astros 2 and the Atlanta Braves nothing.
Well, it's time once again to test your sports knowledge as we match wits with Schlitz. What team holds the National League record for the most times at bat in a 9-inning game? New York, Houston, or Pittsburgh? Well, most records are made to be broken, but there's one that will always stand. The Schlitz record of careful brewing. Fact is, Schlitz is the most carefully brewed beer in the world. When you pop open a can or bottle of Schlitz, you're getting all the flavor and goodness a truly great beer can offer. It takes 1,174 careful brewing steps to put it there. That's why Schlitz has the big beer difference. Real gusto in the great light beer. Why settle for less? After all, when you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. Now, what team holds the National League record for the most times at bat in a 9-inning game? New York, with 58 times at bat. First set in 1925, then tied in 1931. Both times, the Giants faced the Philadelphia Phillies.
Bottom half of the 7th inning, the crowd standing, taking the 7th inning stretch. Dave Adlich, the catcher, will lead off, followed by pitcher Don Wilson, and then the top of the order, Julio Gotay. Stick with us. We are getting very, very close to a history-making performance by Don Wilson, and watching him in the dugout, nary a Houston player is talking to him. Dave Adlich has struck out and bounded out. Tapped one out in front of the plate and was thrown out. Astros lead 2-0, bottom of the 7th. Phil Negro also has pitched fine baseball, but being far eclipsed by the tremendous game thus far by Don Wilson. Adlich is hitting 188. The knuckleballer gets ready to work. Here's the windup. And the pitch. Low and outside, ball 1. 1 ball and no strike. One 0 count to Dave Adlich. Nobody on, nobody out, bottom of the 7th. The Astros picked up both of their runs in the 4th inning. Now the pitch. Called strike 1, and the count is 1-1 to Adlich. Phil Negro has gone the distance for the Atlanta Braves. They have had no activity. The Astros have had Sambera up briefly. Now the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a ground foul on the knuckleball back behind the plate, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Roger Maris, Orlando Cepeda, Lou Brock, that whole gang from St. Louis will be in tomorrow night. Tomorrow and Tuesday night, then Cincinnati on Wednesday. Bob Gibson and Mike Cuellar will lock up tomorrow. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Adlich swings and misses, and the ball gets by Euchre for a pass ball, and Adlich is safe at first base. That will be a strikeout on the pass ball. Euchre's second pass ball this afternoon. That's the second time that has happened. Jim Wynn struck out on the 5th and was safe at first on the pass ball on Euchre. That knuckleball getting by the catcher, and Dave Adlich is on at first base after the strikeout. Here is pitcher Don Wilson. Fans giving him a hand. Dave Adlich at first base. With nobody out in the 7th, and the Astros leading 2-0. Mike Delahose moves in at third base. Wilson gets tired of waiting and steps out of the batter's box. Now Big Don gets back in. Here's the stretch. And the pitch to Wilson, who wheels the bunt, pops it up. Fielded by Delahose, and Adlich hustles back to first base. So the sacrifice attempt is not good as Wilson pops it up to Mike Delahose for round number 1. That will bring up Julio Gotay. Gotay is 0 for 3, has struck out, grounded out, and has hit a humpback line drive right at Tito Francona. Ty takes plenty of time getting up there to give Wilson a little bit of a rest as Big Don goes back to the dugout. One out and one on. Dave Adley safe at first base after striking out on the pass ball on catcher Bob Uecker. The Astros, 2 runs and 7 hits. The Atlanta Braves, nothing. Here's the pitch to go Ty. Backs away from the knuckleball. It's inside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strike. Bob Lillis is on deck. Sonny Jackson forced to leave the game with a slight muscle pull. 1-0 to go Ty. Adlich takes a short lead off first. Pitch to Julio is in there for a called strike, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike count with 1 out and 1 out. Now Negro looking down at Bob Uecker. Here's the stretch. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Got way out in front of that knuckleball. Almost hit it with his backswing, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Cubs lead 2-0. Bottom of the 6th inning. Runners at first and third, 1 away. Mark Grace, the batter. Rich Rodriguez is the new Giants pitcher.
And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike count with 1 out and 1 out. Up it up to Mike Delahose for round number 1. That will bring up Julio Gotay. Gotay is 0 for 3, is struck out, grounded out, and has hit a humpback line drive right at Tito Francona. Ty takes plenty of time getting up there to give Wilson a little bit of a rest as Big Don goes back to the dugout. One out and 1 on. Dave Adler safe at first base after striking out on the pass ball on catcher Bob Uecker. The Astros, 2 runs and 7 hits. The Atlanta Braves, nothing. Here's the pitch to go Ty. Backs away from the knuckleball. It's inside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strike. Bob Lillis is on deck. Sonny Jackson forced to leave the game with a slight muscle pull. 1-0 to go Ty. Adlich takes a short lead off first. Pitch to Julio is in there for a called strike, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike count with 1 out and 1 out. Now Negro looking down at Bob Uecker. Here's the stretch. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Got way out in front of that knuckleball. Almost hit it with his backswing, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bill Negro, 28 years old, gets set. Adlich with a short leadoff. Here's the stretch. 1-2 pitch, swinging a fly ball into left center field. Felipe Alou chasing along with Mac Jones, and neither one gets it. It goes by Jones. Here's Adlich coming into third base, giving the stop sign at spur, and Gotay moves into second. Mac Jones got a very bad jump on that ball, and reached down, and it just went under his glove for a double for Julio Gotay, enabling Dave Adlish to move around to third base. The Astros have runners at second and third with one out, and that will bring up Bob Lillis. That is hit number 8 for the Astros off Phil Niekro. Here's the play coming up for the first time this afternoon after going into pinch run for injured Sonny Jackson. For Julio Gotay, his second double of the year. Niekro stretches. The infield is drawn in. Lillis waves at an outside pitch and misses it. The ball just gets a little bit away from catcher Bob Uecker, not far enough for an advance. One strike to count to Bob Lillis, who has been at bat 7 times this year looking for his first hit. Adlish at third, Gotay at second, one out, bottom of the 7th. Houston leading 2-0. Phil Niekro stretches. Here's the pitch. Ground ball hit foul down the third base side. Backhanded by Mike Delahose in foul territory. The count is 1-1. Jim Wynn kneels in the on-deck circle. Two to nothing the score. That's not the whole story. Don Wilson is working on a gem. He has 6 more outs to go. Here's the stretch. The 1-1 pitch. Way outside. Nice save by Bob Uecker. Uecker saves the run. Diving way outside and catching up with that knuckleball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Now we can see after this series what Claude Raymond meant when we interviewed him and asked him to name his all-defensive team. He said, might surprise you, but I'll pick Bob Uecker as my catcher. Uecker has shown what Frenchie meant. Fellow's a great defensive backstop. Here's the strike. 1-2 pitch, ground foul down the third base side, and the count holds at a ball and 2 strikes to Bob Lillis. Dave Adlish, who reached base when he struck out and moved up on the pass ball on Uecker. Sounds kind of funny after lauding Uecker, but that knuckleball is tough to handle, and Uecker is one of the few that can. And then Gotay double to left center field, just under the glove of Mac Jones. Here's the stretch. 1-2 pitch. Gets away from Bob Uecker. Here comes Adlish. A good bounce back, and Adlish is out at the plate. That ball bounced back right into the glove of Bob Uecker, who flipped to Phil Niekro covering the plate, and Adlish is out at home plate. It bounced off the base of the screen and bounded right back to Uecker so that he had to go no further than halfway between the plate and the base of the screen. And Niekro got to the plate in plenty of time to take Uecker's throw and tag out Adlish at the plate. 2-1 if you're scoring for out number 2. Gotay moves up to third base. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Bob Lillis. We'll give the stations a chance to identify themselves here as soon as possible. 2-2 to the Flea with Gotay at third and 2 out now. Niekro takes plenty of time. And now he steps off. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Astros Baseball Network.
The 23 strikeouts for Wilson is a new club record for 2 consecutive ball games, breaking the record set by Mike Cuellar this year and then tied by Mike. 1 ball, no strikes to Menke. Good fastball. Swing and a miss. A ball and a strike. Billy Hitchcock has started his bullpen going down the left side. A left-hander, Ramon Hernandez, and right-hander Jay Ritchie starting to loosen up. 1 ball, 1 strike on Menke. And Wilson's next pitch. Fastball inside. That jammed him. And Menke had to get out of the way in a hurry on it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nicro third, Lillis short now. Gotay second, Matthews first, Staub right, Wynn center, Landis left, Adlish catching. And the 2-1 pitch by Wilson. Ball high, 3-1. Now Don has lost 2 on walks today. After putting down the first 14 batters, he walked Menke in the 5th inning. And then he lost Hank Aaron on a base on balls in the 7th. Menke's now checking with Bob Kennedy, his third base coach, to see if he should look one over here before he goes for the 3-1 pitch. If it's in there, you can be sure he'll be going for it. Here's the 3-1 pitch now to Menke. Started to go. Ball 4. It's too high. So the first batter has been walked here to start the 8th. Third base on balls off Wilson. We're going to have a pinch batter. Bob Uecker is being taken out, and Rico Carty is going to pinch hit. This is the first appearance in this series for Carty. He's been on the shelf with a shoulder injury. So Billy Hitchcock has started to make his move now here in the 8th inning with Houston leading it 2-0. Eddie Matthews, I note, has just come out to talk to Wilson. Eddie, of course, has a pretty good book on this Atlanta ball club, and I'm sure that Wilson wanted to know how to pitch to Carty. Here's a pretty dangerous hitter right here. Rico Carty batting for Bob Uecker. Uecker struck out and flied out the first 2 times he was up today. Runner on first base is Dennis Menke with nobody out, top half of the 8th inning. Carty is batting .260. Wilson checks over his sign with Dave Adlish. Carty has 27 runs batted in. He's hit 6 home runs so far this year. And the first pitch to Carty is a strike. He laid it right in there for him. Strike 1. One strike. Base on balls to Dennis Menke to start the 8th inning. The Astros up by a couple runs. Here's the stretch by Wilson. Next pitch on the way now. Tap foul. Carty was checking his swing on that one, and he popped it into the Houston dugout off the right side. Right-hander Carol Sambera starting to loosen up again for the Astros down the right field line. 0-2 count on the very dangerous Rico Carty, pinch hitting for Bob Uecker with nobody out. Menke on first. Here's the stretch again now by Don. And the pitch to Carty is a tap foul up in the seats off the right side. Count holds there, 2 strikes. Bill Woodward will be up next for Atlanta. Well, if the Astros can win this one today, they will break even with Atlanta in this 4-game set after winning 3 out of 4 from the San Francisco Giants on this homestand. Here's the stretch again by Wilson. 2-strike pitch to Carty, low outside, 1-2. Eddie Matthews is close to first base, but he is not holding up tight against Dennis Menke. 1 ball, 2-strike count. Outfield stays deep for Carty because besides being a good average hitter, and that .260 average shouldn't fool you because Carty's a much better hitter than that, he has pretty good power. And Wilson, of course, working very carefully on him here in the top half of the 8th inning. Stretch again by Big Don. Look over the first. Here's the pitch on the way to Carty. Ball high. Well, he put a little bit of extra stuff on that one, and it got away from him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out. Menke on first. As Don Wilson has passed Menke to open the inning, his third base on balls. Matthews again shaded away from first base, protecting the right side of the infield. Carty, a right-handed batter, and the infield is shoved around the left side for him. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Carty. Fouled away again. That goes way up in the purple section off the right side, foul. Just off the right side of the plate, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Houston scored 2 runs in the 4th, and that's been it so far this afternoon. Wilson is normally a fast worker, but he has slowed his pace considerably here in the latter stages of this game. Now Carty decides to step out. Nobody out. Runner first base, Atlanta. Top of the 8th inning. Houston 2-0. 2 balls, 2 strikes on pinch batter Rico Carty. Here's the pitch to him. And a foul. He was trying to get out of the way of what normally would have been a ball, and the ball hit his bat. And it shot off the right side. So Wilson now has come in with some high fastballs here on Carty. And they have been just a little bit more than out of the strike zone. Count holds. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Menke's been on twice now. He also walked in the 5th inning after Wilson retired the first 2 batters, and now he's on here in the 8th with nobody out. Wilson set again. Menke takes a pretty good lead off first base. Here's the pitch to Carty. Fouled off, no play, high off the right side. Ball 2, strike 2. Well, we've had some thrillers in this series. Atlanta winning in 10, 9-8. Atlanta winning in 10, 3-1. And Houston winning in the bottom of the 9th, 4-3. And here we are in the 8th inning of this one with a 2-0 Houston lead. Carty back in again now. Wilson has his sign from Dave Adlish. Matthews still stays off the bag, still holding a little bit close to Dennis Menke, who takes a short lead off the bag. Carty waits for Wilson to get set, and then he steps out. Ball 2, strike 2, stretch again by Wilson. Look over the first base. Here's the pitch now. Carty swings and he misses. He struck him out, and Wilson got him on that high fastball. That is the 11th strikeout for Wilson. So Don now has gone 7 1/3 innings without allowing a hit today. And the only base runners for the Braves have been on walks. So Carty, a pinch batter, goes down swinging. Here's Bill Woodward. Nope, we're going to have another pinch batter. Charlie Lau, L-A-U, just acquired a couple weeks ago from the Baltimore Orioles. And he was acquired from Baltimore strictly as a pinch batter. So Woodward is being lifted, and Billy Hitchcock is coming in with his second pinch hitter in this inning. Charlie Lau. Swings from the left side. Lau is batting 143. This is the second time that the Braves have used Lau in this series. He was used as a pinch hitter last night and drew a base on balls. 1 out, runner first base, top of the 8th. Houston 2 and Atlanta nothing. Here's the stretch by Wilson. Menke stretched his lead a bit now, and Lau takes the ball outside. The reason I mentioned that Lau was acquired by the Braves strictly as a pinch hitter, he has a bad arm and cannot catch, cannot throw. So he's sort of a luxury that a ball club like the Braves can't carry with a pretty deep bench anyway. 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the stretch again by Wilson. The pitch on the way to Lau. Check, strike. Started to go, and it caught the outside corner up around the letters on him, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Wilson has just tacked another strikeout onto his club record. 13 last time out, 11 today. 24 strikeouts in back-to-back ball games. Here's the pitch on the way to Lau. Swing and a miss. And that was a fastball, and Lau was just a little bit uncertain what to do with it. And he swung as though he was a little bit befuddled on it. So he didn't take a good, clean swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitcher Phil Niekro is up in the on-deck circle, but I'm pretty sure he will be lifted for a pinch batter. 1 ball, 2 strike. Look over to first base by Wilson. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and he threw the bat all the way to first base. 2 down. So Wilson has struck out Carty and Lau back-to-back as pinch hitters to run his strikeout total to 12 in the ball game. And he now has gone 7 2/3 innings without allowing a base hit. Now Niekro is being pulled back into the dugout. And Cletus Boyer will be the pinch hitter. Well, there's one thing about baseball that you have to respect, and that no matter what the circumstances, Each club, each man is out to win. And Hitchcock now is putting in his third consecutive pinch batter here against 22-year-old right-hander Don Wilson, who has a no-hitter cooking in the 8th inning. Boyer was held out today because of a pulled leg muscle. Mike Delahoe is filling in at third for him. And now Boyer comes on to pinch bat. He swings right. He's hitting .266. 2 outs as Menke remains at first base on the lead walk-off Wilson. Boyer's having a good year. 34 runs batted in, 9 homers. First pitch to him. Just missed inside at the knees, ball 1. Both bullpens are busy, and I might correct that by saying that they are a little bit busy, because just about the time Wilson gets set to pitch, they all watch the field. 1 ball, no strike, look over to first base. The pitch to Boyer, foul away, right back in the net. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two outs, Menke first base, top of the 8th, Houston leading it 2-0. Negro now has been lifted. And the only pitcher warming up for the Braves down the left field line now is right-hander Jay Ritchie. Ramon Hernandez, a left-hander, was throwing a few moments ago, so we're not sure which one the Hitchcock will bring on. 1 ball, 1 strike. Look over to first base, the pitch to Boyer. Swing and a miss. Good pitch around the knees, and he sort of changed up on Boyer that time. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One and 2 count on Boyer. Wilson started off with a base on balls on Menke. And he has struck out Rico Carty, struck out Charlie Lau, both as pinch hitters. And he's facing his third consecutive pinch batter now. And he's up on Boyer, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the stretch again by Don. Good lead by Menke off first base now. Here's the pitch to Boyer. Just missed outside at the knees. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, you have to stop and think now. Just try to imagine what's going through everybody's mind in the field, as well as everybody here in the ballpark. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Wilson set again now. Look over to first base. 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Here's the 2-2 to Boyer. Ball outside again, and he has that count out to 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, if Boyer should get on, Wilson would have to pitch to Philippe Alou. We mentioned a few moments ago that Wilson normally is a fast worker. He wastes very little time. But this is a little bit different story right now. 2 outs, and Menke will be going on the 3-2 pitch to Boyer. Stretched by Wilson. Look to first. There goes Menke. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And John Wilson has 8 innings of no-hit ball against the Atlanta Braves, striking out the side after walking Menke. And that is his 13th strikeout for the 2nd game in a row. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. Now we can rest a little bit as we go to the bottom of the 8th with the score, Houston 2 and Atlanta nothing.
Are you tuned in on Maryland Club Coffee, Luke?
Maryland Club. Maryland Club is coffee which is flavor blended, mellow and rich. If you want all the coffee in the world, we think Maryland Club is the one you drink.
Maryland Club, like a rich harmony of mellow voices. Maryland Club blends choice coffee beans from all over the world into one special flavor. A full-bodied flavor, a rich but never bitter flavor that comes through loud and clear in every cup you pour.
Maryland Club is coffee which is flavor blended, mellow and rich.
Maryland Club. Once you taste it, you'll never be satisfied with anything less.
If you want all the coffee in the world, we think Maryland Club is the one you drink.
I'll be getting our breath here now for the next few moments anyway, as we go on to the bottom half of the eighth. But let's mention right here that Don Wilson, who has a no-hitter through 8 innings now, will be facing the top of the batting order in the top of the ninth. Felipe Alou, Tito Francona, and Hank Aaron. We've had some defensive changes for Atlanta. Now catching is Orlando Martinez. Mike Delahose has moved from third to second base. And Clete Boyer remains in the ball game at third base. Here's Jim Wynn. 2-0 Houston. Well, Jimmy's had another good day today. He's 2 doubles and a strikeout. Jimmy doubled in the first inning, doubled in the fourth. Drove in his 48th run of the year with his second double, and went down swinging at the hands of Phil Niekro in the 5th inning. A left-hander now pitching for the Atlanta Braves as Niekro was moved out of there. Here's the first pitch into Wynn, and Jim swings and fouls it away. Ramon Hernandez. This fella came on real strong for the Braves in the early part of the season, but we haven't heard too much about him recently. He is a product of the California Angels organization, and I believe was acquired by Atlanta via the draft. Jim Wynn leading off the bottom of the 8th inning with the Astros leading 2-0. 1 strike pitch is low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. So Niekro goes 7 innings, and he pitched a fine ball game. He gave up 2 runs, 8 hits, walked 2, and struck out 5 before he was lifted for the pinch batter. The left-hander throws to Jim Wynn. High foul off the right side, 1-2. One thing that I think the Atlanta Braves should do, and that is to pin some kind of a medal on Bob Uecker, because Mr. Niekro has really got a knuckleball, and that is a mighty tough job behind the plate catching him. Swing and a miss. He got him. Wynn goes down swinging. That's the 2nd time in a row now that Wynn has struck out. Here's Rusty Staub. So Hernandez chalks up a strikeout. That's the 6th strikeout by the Atlanta staff today. Here's Rusty Staub. Both Wynn and Staub have continued their hitting strings. Wynn's up to 6 and Staub's up to 9. Rusty had a base hit in the 4th inning, and he is 1 for 3 today and drove in his 30th run with that single. Hernandez, the southpaw, looks over his sign from Orlando Martinez. Here's the pitch now. There's a high fly ball back in left field. Felipe Alou coming fast after a slow start, and it drops foul in front of him. Well, it appeared that Alou did not see that ball immediately. He got a very late start, slowly moving over toward the foul line. Then he really put up a head of steam, but he couldn't get to it. So Rusty's still in there with a strike. Hernandez has no wins and 1 loss. This is his 17th game this year, and he has an earned run average of 5.40. Hernandez, let's see if he has any saves. Yes, he has 2 saves, no wins, 1 loss. Rusty back over after the pine tar cloth now. 1 out, nobody on base here in the last half of the 8th inning, with Houston leading at 2-0. Here's the windup by the left-hander, and the pitch into Staub now. There's a slow curveball that came in very high, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Houston scored both its runs in the 4th. Hernandez throws again to Staub. Started to go, and he checked in time. There's a sweeping curveball that broke away from Rusty. 2 balls, 1 strike. Jackson singled to open the 4th. Wynn doubled to drive in 1 run, and then Rusty singled to drive in the other. Ball 2, strike 1, the count on Staub. Low and inside. Ball 3, strike 1. Eddie Matthews will be up next. Martinez, or rather Hernandez, the new pitcher, and Jay Ritchie is still warming up down the left side for Atlanta. There's a long drive to deep left field. Alou is back now. He'll get it. And they're 2 down. Now Rusty got a hold of that one, but Alou was playing him just right back in left center field. He had no trouble dragging it in, and they're 2 down. Here's Eddie Matthews. Eddie is hitless today. Walked in the 6th. First 2 times up, he grounded out. One of those, he was safe in a fielder's choice.
Now the Braves put the Matthews shift on with Dennis Menke, the shortstop, way over by second base. 2 outs, nobody on base here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. First pitch on the way by Hernandez. Strike on the outside corner of the knee, strike one. Don Wilson, after 8, has pitched a no-hitter against this Atlanta ball club. And he'll be looking at the top side, as I mentioned, Alou, Francona, and Aaron in the first half of the 9th inning. Ball high to Matthews, 1 ball, 1 strike. Brave outfield stays deep, and they play Matthews to pull. Hernandez, in his first inning here, relieving Phil Niekro, takes quite a bit of time out on the hill. A 1-1 count on Eddie Matthews. Here's the left-hander's next pitch now. Changed up on him, and a little soft change curve that was outside. Well, Don Wilson in the dugout is flanked on the left side by Rusty Staub, and on the other side by Demule. Everything's pretty quiet down in the Houston dugout right now. Ball 2, strike 1 on Matthews. Here's the next pitch to him. Fouled away, back into the net. Ball 2, strike 2. Houston has had 8 hits off the Braves today, and 3 of them came in that 4th inning when they tallied the 2 runs. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Matthews, low outside, full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Houston picked up a couple hits in the first inning. Jackson singled and Wynn doubled, but Sonny was picked off first. And otherwise, it's been just a single hit in the 5th, 6th, and 7th for the Astros. If you joined us late, Sonny Jackson had to be removed from the ball game when he pulled a thigh muscle in his right leg. And there's a possibility he may be back in the lineup tomorrow. Now the 3-2 pitch to Matthews. Call strike 3. He struck him out. Well, we're moving into the 9th inning now, as Hernandez comes on to get the side out in order. 7 strikeouts for the Braves staff. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. We move to the first half of the 9th inning with the score Houston 2 and Atlanta nothing. Say, this ever happened to you? You're watching TV and run out of popcorn, so you find yourself some peanuts. Just as good. But what happens if you run out of Schlitz? Friend, that's another story, because when you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. There just isn't any substitute for the great light beer with real gusto, and it stands to reason, because Schlitz is the most carefully brewed beer in the world. Schlitz starts with good stock, table quality rice, prize barley, championship corn, 4 of the world's greatest hops. Then Schlitz brews these fine ingredients through 1,174 careful steps. The happy result, real beer flavor, real beer character, and a beer so light you can enjoy glass after glass. Yes, sometimes substitutes can be fine, but not when it comes to Schlitz. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. Now, before we move on to inning number 9, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Astros Baseball Network.
This is KPIC Radio Houston 95.0. At 29 minutes past 4 o'clock on the KPIC patio, we have 95 degrees.
Leading off for the Atlanta Braves here in the 9th will be Felipe Alou. He'll be followed by Tito Francona and Henry Aaron. Don Wilson has a no-hitter going against the Atlanta Braves. As we start times, Wilson has gotten this fella on ground balls. Twice to second, once to third. And Alou has hit the hardest ball hit for the Braves today. Wilson's first pitch to him. Strike on the outside corner of the knee, strike 1. Back in the 6th inning, Alou hit a shot to Aspromonte. He made a tremendous play and nipped him at first. Ball low outside. First 2 pitches by Wilson. He's been trying to hit the low outside corner on this right-handed batter. He hit him the first time. He missed that time. 1-1 on Alou. And on deck, Tito Francona. Wilson winds again. Here's the pitch now. Pop-up. Ball is in play, but the catcher, Atlas, can't find it. Aspromonte coming hard, and he has got it. Aspromonte came
charging in from third on a ball that Adlish could not locate. It was hit high off the left side of the plate, and Astromonte had to put on such a tremendous burst of speed that he almost overran it. He had to reach back over his head to grab it. 1 out. And Wilson is 2 outs away from a no-hitter. As the Lou opens tonight, fouling out to the third baseman, Bob Aspromonte. Here's Tito Francona. Wilson has struck him out twice today. He popped out to short the other time. That was Wilson's fastball, and Big Don seems to be going mostly without here in the late innings. Francona swings left. Here's the windup, and just as Wilson was all set to pitch, Francona stepped out. I've noted here in the 9th inning that Wilson is pitching a lot faster now than he did in the last inning. It took a lot of time after he got Menke on the walk. There's the windup, and the next pitch to Francona. Looper to left field, it'll be foul up in the seats. So he gets the jump on Francona, 2 strikes. Don Wilson working on a no-hitter here in the top half of the 9th inning. With nobody on base, he is retired. Felipe Alou on a foul ball. And he has yet to face Francona and Henry Aaron. Here's the 2-strike pitch to Francona. Swinging a miss and struck him out. And again the fastball. And now all that stands between Wilson and a no-hitter is one of the best hitters in the National League, Hank Aaron. That is the 14th strikeout for Wilson. Well, Aaron has been struck out twice today by Wilson. He got him the first 2 times, lost him in the 7th on a base on ball. Here's the windup and the pitch to Aaron. Ball high and inside, and Henry just about went for that one, but he ducked out of the way. 1 ball, no strikes. Just about all the Braves up on the edge of the dugout off the third base side. As Wilson checks the sign. 2 outs, nobody on base, top of the 9th. There's the pitch on the way to Henry Aaron. Swinging it in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wilson is 1 out away from a no-hitter, as Houston leads it 2-0 in the 9th. And he's 1 ball, 1 strike on Aaron. Wilson checked Adlish. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Aaron. Just missed. Well, I don't think he could have come much closer on that one without getting it in for a strike. Bill Williams working the plate here with a 2-ball, 1 strike count on Hank Aaron. Wilson ready again. Here's the next pitch to Henry. Strike 2. Aaron didn't offer that one at all. And that was just above the belt on the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, they're getting right down to the end now. 2-2 count on Aaron. Hank steps out. 2 outs, top of the 9th. Wilson with a no-hitter. Nobody on base. Aaron back in again now. Wilson looks at the scoreboard. Rocks back. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Ball high and outside. Well, the count is full to Aaron, 3-2. Mac Jones will bat next if Aaron should get on. And Aaron was walked his last time. 1 of the 3 bases on balls that Wilson has given up today. Ball 3, strike 2 on Aaron. 2 outs, 9th inning. Here's the pitch by Wilson. Fly ball, foul. No play. Aaron got under that one and lifts it deep up into the mezzanine back at third. So this will give everyone a few seconds breather here now as Adlish walks out toward the mound and roughs up a new ball for Wilson. 22-year-old right-hander Don Wilson has pitched 8 2/3 innings of no-hit ball against the Braves. Top of the 9th, and he's full up on Aaron. And here comes that 3-2 pitch. He got it! It's all over. A swing and a miss, and Wilson has pitched a no-hitter. to tell you that that young fella is being mobbed. Everybody out of that Houston dugout. And just as soon as we can get to Don, we'll have him on the air for you. Don Wilson becomes the third Houston pitcher in history to pitch a no-hitter. He has joined Don Notabart and Ken Johnson. When he struck out Aaron, a swing and a miss on a 3-2 pitch here in the ninth inning, Wilson took about 2 or 3 steps off the mound toward the Houston dugout and literally collapsed. There wasn't anyone around him. He dropped his shoulders and his hands down to his side, and he must have said to himself, I got it. And Houston wins 2-0 on a tremendous pitching performance by Don Wilson. A no-hit, no-run game, 15 strikeouts. Well, we haven't bothered to total up this ball game, but I think the scoreboard in right center field just about gives the story. It is full of goose eggs, as Don Wilson has just pitched a 2-0 no-hitter against the Atlanta Braves. And as I mentioned, the third no-hitter in Houston history. The first one thrown by Don Notabart against the Philadelphia Phillies. That, incidentally, I might add, that no-hitter that Notabart threw was not a no-hit, no-run game, because the Phillies got a run in that game. It was 4-1. And then the second no-hitter was lost by Ken Johnson against the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 1-0. Notabart threw his in 1963, and Johnson threw his no-hitter in 1964. Well, let's total this up now. Houston winning it by a score of 2-0. For Houston, 2 runs on 8 hits, no errors. And the Astros this afternoon stranded 6 runners. And for the Atlanta Braves, no runs, no hits, no errors, and the Braves left 3 men on base. The winning pitcher is Don Wilson, his 4th win of the year against 3 losses. The losing pitcher is Phil Niekro. He now has won 2 and lost 3. Our official paid attendance today, 19,199, and the total crowd, 22,173. And when they talk about Don Wilson's record and the no-hitter that he threw out here today with 15 strikeouts, a lot more than 22,173 fans will have seen it. The time of the ball game will be just about, I'll guess this one out, about 2 hours and 35 minutes on a guess. So that's the play-by-play story out here this afternoon. A no-hitter by Don Wilson. Houston wins it over the Atlanta Braves.